and Legacy. What's up, everybody from the Law and Legacy channel? I appreciate everybody again. Thank you, guys. We got Jersey Village checking in. We got Northwest Pasadena, California checking in. We have, who else do we have here? Make sure you hit the like button as you come in. And we're going to go ahead and learn a lot tonight. I want to talk to you guys about a very serious matter. I mean, it's, you know, shout out to all my, you know, before I get started good, I want to make sure I give a big shout out to all the veterans, all the black veterans, all the people who served in foreign wars. I appreciate you guys. You know, I have brothers and uncles and grandfathers who served in the military, Navy. I don't know if I have anybody in the Air Force, but I have Navy, Army, and Marine Corps. You know, so that's always, we've always had a patriotic family, and you know, I appreciate the time they get. Now, look, let's start here, family. And you know, there's this white guy online talking about we're built for war, and somehow in his framing, it's black Americans who are the threat. Okay, it is black people who are supposedly itching for civil war. Okay. I'm gonna let you see the video real quick. You guys hit the #1 button. This is the cat right here.
To start a race war with a race that was bred for war. You understand that's what we're bred for, don't you? You have to understand some shit, okay? Majority of us, we are born into ammunition and firearms.
All right, I just want permission. Can I respond, or you all want me to let him finish talking before I respond? Because I know you all tell me all the time not to respond. But I'd like to, you know, just letting these people go on with this rhetoric. Let me know if you will, okay? I'll let it play the first time, okay?
We are born into more ammunition than the National fucking Guard. We are taught to hunt.
So just because you're around the ammunition doesn't mean that you're like a master of the ammunition. It means that you, like so many others, took a trip to the sporting goods section of the local Walmart and purchased that ammunition. Sir, just being around something doesn't make you good at it. Okay, I'll just point that out to you respectfully, sir, as you sit there in your wide open spaces.
Survive off the land. We are taught that we don't need the gun.
You're there to survive. I'm trying to let him finish. I know you all tell me not to say anything, but he says, you know, survive off the land. That didn't really work very well for the Pilgrims, did it? Neither did it work very well when you all shipped millions of my people over here to help you work the land, because you all don't do well in the sun. And look, I know we got some white people in here. Shout out to all the white people that I'm cool with. Okay, and you know, but you know, I gotta cater to the white supremacists, because we got some white supremacists, and then I gotta feed them. You know, I gotta make them mad. You know, I enjoy having them here because they hit the like button too. Isn't that what Jordan said? Republican. He said, yeah, they hit the like button too. They get my views up. Okay, let me entertain the white supremacists. I'm trying to give them something. Okay, so I'm gonna let them finish. I'm sorry. I'm gonna let them finish, and then that's it. Okay?
Government to give us shit.
Government? You mean the government didn't give you anything, sir? Do you not understand that they opened the floodgates and they let all these white folk go over to the Midwest and just get free land grabs? Do you know white people are the largest consumers of welfare in the United States of America, sir? What do you mean the government doesn't give you anything? Who do you think keeps Walmart, the candy section in Walmart, paid in full? Sir, come on now. You got to do better than that, sir.
I have a feeling you're taught to be a victim and that the government owes you something.
Oh, we're talking, the government doesn't give us anything. What are you talking about? Do you not know what red line? The government actually takes our money, and it takes our money from our tax dollars and puts it in your community. That's why you all have the schools that you have. They take our money. That was what the whole civil rights thing was about. They were taking our money and your money and putting our money towards the things that you all like to do in your community, like schools and water fountains and all those sort of things. So what exactly are you talking about? Okay, I'm gonna let him finish. Go ahead, sir. He's got a nice beard, though. I've been giving him his beard. He's got the full beard in. The beard is, go ahead.
We're not the same.
You are right. We are not the same. We don't melt in the sunlight. That's the first thing you need to understand. Now, again, let's go back to, because there's more of them like that. All right. And I want to slow down because historically, when people in this country start fantasizing about civil war and militias or taking the country back, it's not been Black Americans leading the charge. Black Americans have a different historical relationship with war. We didn't build militias to preserve slavery. We didn't storm state houses because the election didn't go our way. We didn't do that. We didn't form paramilitary groups to resist integration. What Black Americans have done consistently is fight in America's wars. And the distinction matters. Let me say this plainly. You don't want to go to war with a soldier. Okay? Now, some of you all may have heard that before. That is the great American poet. I believe he's from New Orleans, 9th Ward or 3rd Ward. His name is Percy Miller. You look him up. He's a fantastic poet. He came out toward the end of the last century. Okay? I think he's affiliated with the poetic montage called No Limit Soldiers. You can check him out. But he had a famous poem called You Don't Want to Go to War with a Soldier. It was very Shakespearean in its form, but look him up, Percy Miller. I believe he might be English with a name like Percy. Percy sounds like an English name, Percy Miller. So look, bottom line, if we're being honest, Black Americans have been soldiers in this country from the very beginning, okay? We fought when we didn't want to. We fought when we had to. We were tricked to fight, okay? If you fight for our side, we'll let you free. We fought when we were denied rights. We fought when we were told we were less than men, and, hell, our women fought, We fought overseas. We came home. We had to fight for dignity on our soil. But don't make the mistake. Fighting has never been our hobby. It's been, it has never been our fantasy. It's never been our first choice. We fight because we had to. And my people have been in this country for centuries, longer than most of these white people who just showed up. All right. And foundational Black Americans were here before many of their families ever set foot on this continent. Our labor built it. Our blood defended it. Our history is woven into this foundation. Long before social media courage, long before internet chest beating, we were already on the battlefield proving ourselves. And here's the truth. We don't choose to fight, but when we are forced to fight, the record shows we do it very well. So when someone gets online and says white people are built for war and Black people want a civil war, that's not only just false, it's ignorant. Okay? Show me the Black neighborhoods calling for civil war. Show me the Black veterans organizations and militias that are ready to destabilize the country that we served. Most Black Americans are not looking for conflict. Most Black Americans want stability, safety, and the opportunity to build and enjoy our families. But what we really want, and I want to look into the eyes. We want y'all to leave us alone. All the Black people in the chat room who want to be left alone, type, leave us alone, okay? And let me correct something else while we're here. When you say Black people, you need to be specific because we are foundational Black Americans. Our lineage in this country goes back generations. We're not the same as every immigrant who arrived after 1965. We're not even the same as the immigrants who arrived on Ellis Island. See, we are not the first, second, or third generation who can simply pack up and relocate if things get difficult. Our roots are here. Our ancestors are buried here. Our entire historical identity is here. So don't lump us together in one vague category of Black. That's your first mistake. And that mistake comes from laziness or racism, because you didn't even bother to ask which Black people you're talking about. And that tells me something. It tells me this isn't about facts. it tells me you were just looking for a reason to pick a fight, and that's on you. You understand? That's on you. But if what you're saying were true, and I don't believe it is, then there would be evidence. There would be organized calls for violence. There would be speeches demanding civil war from black folk. Al Sharpton has not gone on MSNBC and said he wants black people to rally together in Times Square and wage war. I have not heard. Have y'all heard Al Sharpton say that to anybody? I have not. Okay, I have not heard Cat Williams say it on his new comedy special. I have not heard that. Okay? I've yet to meet any single black American calling for civil war. Most black people simply want to be left alone, left to build, left to raise families, left to live without being threatened. So before you talk about who's built for war, understand who you're talking about. And understand this clearly. Discipline is not loud. Strength is not reckless, and history is not on the side of those who underestimate us. You see? But let's step back for a minute, because I know you all saw this, and I didn't get a chance to address it a couple of weeks ago. Let's talk about the psychology of this type of person. What kind of man gets online from the safety of his phone, sitting comfortably on his wide open country spread or ranch, and declares that his people are built for war? I want you to think about that. He's not on the battlefield. He's not under threat. He's not being drafted. He's not being mobilized. He's typing and talking and speaking into a camera with a $1,000 cell phone made in China somewhere. Yet he's evoking violence. He's invoking conflict. He's invoking war. That tells you something about that person. It tells you this isn't about defense. It's about survival. It's about necessity. It's about identity. For some men, especially men who feel uncertain about their place in a changing society, conflict becomes a substitute for meaning. War becomes a performance. It becomes a way to project strength when you feel cultural displacement or economic anxiety or social insecurity. No, there's something else. When he says we are built for war, he's not volunteering himself alone. You see that? You speaking for millions of people who never asked to be drafted into your fantasy, as if all the white people are just gonna line up on one side and just fight all of it. But you think that's how it's gonna work? He's putting his entire race of people on the hook for his emotions. He's declaring conflict on behalf of men and women who have jobs and families and vacations and church on Sunday, and black friends and brown friends and white friends who have zero interest in fighting their neighbors. And that's not leadership. That is just irresponsibility. Psychologically, this is what you call displaced aggression. Instead of addressing his personal frustrations, I don't know, maybe his dick is small. I'm sorry about saying that. Maybe that's his problem, and his wife leaving him because he got a little dick, can't fuck. Did I say that? Oh, I shouldn't be saying things like that. But when you get down to it, that might be the issue, okay? Somebody need to check on him. But again, instead of addressing your own personal frustration and your money problems and social change and in healthy ways, the frustration gets projected outward, okay, to a vague enemy. The same old people, right? That vague enemy, black people, gets identified, right? A dramatic narrative gets built. And suddenly war becomes a metaphor for masculinity because you lack masculinity. But see, real masculinity is control. Real strength is discipline. Real men understand consequences. Another piece of this psychology is distance. It's easy to talk about war from behind the screen. It's easy to pound your chest when there's no immediate cost. It's easy to romanticize violence when you've never heard artillery in person, or never seen a body bag, never sat with a widow. Distance creates delusion. If you so big and bad, go on over there to the south side of Chicago and stand in front of the middle of the street with all your ammunition and say you want to go to war. Go on over there and do that. You so big and bad. And see, here's the most telling part. When someone speaks this way, he's not challenging black Americans, okay? He's challenging the stability of the entire country. He's gambling with infrastructure and markets and families and national security. He's risking dragging millions of people, many of whom want absolutely nothing to do with his silly behind, into a conflict they didn't ask for. That kind of psychology is not strength. It's ego wrapped in insecurity. That's that little dick energy that they don't, that's what's going on. Excuse me, no, I'm family friendly. That's what's going on. Because see, a secure man does not need to announce his readiness for war. A stable man does not need to recruit an entire race into a fight to feel powerful. A confident man does not need to need a civil war fantasy to validate his existence. He builds, he leads, he protects, he does not perform. And so when you hear a man talk like that, understand what you're really looking at. You're not looking at courage, you're looking at projection. You're looking at someone trying to manufacture identity through conflict, and that's not the mindset of someone prepared for war. It's the mindset of someone who's never truly seen war and is not prepared for the aftermath. Now, that we got that out the way. Are y'all still with me? Make sure you subscribe to the channel as you ease in here. Let's move on to the next one because we got another one. And this one happens to be a female, okay? Let me go ahead and see if I can put this in here. Hit the number one button.
Themselves in a hood is because they're such...
Now, I want y'all probably seen this one. I bet she got a black boyfriend in her background too, because it's typically seemed like the most racist white women always got a black boyfriend somewhere. Fair use.
Reason blacks have not exterminated themselves in a hood is because they're such horrible shots. So you really think you're gonna beat a duck hunter? If there was a race war, you wouldn't win.
I mean, so you got the white man and this silly white woman saying these things, and I've seen her before, right? See, first of all, here's the problem you need to understand. See, you've been watching too much TV. Where are all my military veterans at? You act like, they act like, they're overconfident. And this is not the first time. They're overconfident. They think that, these guys can't shoot straight. They're going to be shooting sideways. I'm a duck hunter. I got a keen shot. Yeah, you're going to have to do it from a distance, though. You see what I'm saying? But again, I don't even want to entertain that. But it's a lot of this going on the internet. It's a lot of this going on it. Look at this hot mess right here.
Called white dormancy. And basically what it is, when everything's good, white people are docile, they're good, they just want to share.
Can I please comment? Is it okay if I go play by play with this? Please, because I can't just let this just ride through. Y'all got to, I know you all like to hear what's being said, but I can't just sit here and let this go. You understand? I mean, I'm going to try it again. Y'all let me know. Let me talk. I just need to say something. Shout out to L. Jackson. Thank you so much. Let's keep it pushing.
Theory called white dormancy.
White dormancy.
And basically what it is, when everything's good, white people are docile, they're good, they just want to share, they want, egalitarian cultures, everybody come in, check out our stuff, we want to share. And then when things start getting bad, white people slowly undergo this like pressurized cooking, essentially. Then when it reaches a certain boiling point, they freak out and snap, and then start taking over everything until they begin.
At what point have white people been docile and egalitarian throughout the history of white people? When have white people been docile? There's 2,000 documented wars in Europe alone before they even got themselves out of Europe. Before they were able to escape Europe, they were sailing up and down rivers, killing and mopping each other up and doing all kind of. When have white people ever been docile? You all have always, and look, white people, look, you know yourself. You know what you like to do. Okay, you know what you like to do. You know yourselves. I'm not lying to you about who you are. You know yourselves. You fantasize about all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Between messing with kids and waging war, that's what y'all do. That's your reputation on the world stage. Okay? Look, if I hear a news story about a man kicks an old woman down the stairs and takes her welfare check and her fried chicken, and hops in the Cadillac and drives 100 miles an hour running from the police, I know that's us. That we did that. Okay, we did that. All right. If I hear about a fight in Walmart over some or a fight at the Krispy Kreme donut shop, and it was some and somebody's weave was left on the ground, and some slides was in that, that's us. I know us. I know us. Okay. But the minute I hear school pew pew, that ain't us. Okay. The minute I hear, 4 children were found in the basement somewhere and they've been there for 13 years, that's y'all. Okay, you got to accept your stuff. We know you. And at no point have white people ever been dormant. They have never been. You always been about the battle axes and the shit. You find weapons. Okay, that's what you do. Okay, so let's not try to pretend like we all can't hop on that Wikipedia page and count up all the different wars that are named that were waged in Europe. You've never been a docile people. Right now, you're just mad. You're mad because it's more, the people that you invaded are now casually invading your countries. I see what's going on. I know why you're mad. I know why you want your little stuff back, but there's just too many of them. They're just everywhere. That's why you've been coming up with all these movies like Night of the Living Dead and stuff like that. Y'all just fantasize. You ain't got enough bullets, family. You ain't got enough bullets. We gonna be here. We gonna be here. Let's keep going. Let us hear this fantasy. Hit the number 1 button.
Become sufficiently exhausted, and then they settle down with the civilization and the world that they've conquered and just go dormant like nothing ever happened.
How you gonna? But see, here's the problem. Let me let him finish.
They're like, oh, it's fine now. We're good. This can be seen
all
in
kinds of
the
good.
Vikings. This can be seen in the Napoleonic Wars. This can be seen in the British Empire. This can be seen in the Roman Empire. This can be seen in the 1940s Germany. This can be seen with the 100 Years' War. This can be seen with the Crusades. It just keeps happening.
All y'all was doing was fighting yourselves. All those wars is white people fighting other white people. That's what you did. White people fighting other white people. That's what you did. Now, again, white people, okay, you need to understand, we know you and you know you. And I'm not talking to all white people. I'm talking to the goofy ones that got in their mind that, we just gonna wage war against the world. You 7% of the population. Your women aren't having children for you. You got a diminishing population. You're getting older. What do you think? Who's gonna rebuild the world for you? Y'all, just who's gonna rebuild it? I mean, who's gonna after you tear up everything? Where you gonna get your gas and your oil from once the Arabs cut you off? Ukraine has been fighting Russia for how many? 3 years now, and they still haven't won that war. What's gonna happen? Who are you gonna go to war with? Nobody wants to fight you. You just want to fight yourself. You just want to fight because you're mad. That's what it is. You just around here mad and you want to express yourself. You're mad, but it's nobody for you to fight. Nature is going to win. Okay? I'm just saying. I'm not talking to all the white people. I'm not talking to any of the white men and white women. If you're a white woman, you got a black baby daddy, you good. You over here. If you're a white dude and you got a bunch of black wives, you got a black wife, you good. Okay? We're not talking to you. We talking to the ones who are like, oh, no, we got to make, no, it's over. If you don't, the sun is going to beat you. Okay? Now, again, there's always place for everybody in this world, but the bottom line is stop trying to pretend like you ain't who we know you to be.
Culture has, their own conquest-oriented ethics. White people just more specifically seem to do it to a very extreme extent. They're a very martial people, okay?
Yeah, you are very martial people. Martial being warlike. You are a very martial people, but you still haven't made any ground. You took a couple of resources. Africa is still occupied by black people. China is still occupied by Chinese people. Indians is definitely occupied by Indian people. You came in here and interbred with the Native Americans. You stole some black people. South America has a bunch of brown people down there. What land have you actually taken over? If you really want to look at it, whose land's being taken over? Europe. You let us know where you were, and we start crowding you out. So what have you really won? It's like trying to fire a weapon into a tar pit. It's just gonna get absorbed. There's no win in this for you. Calm down.
Something that just happens over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's y'all. That's what y'all do. Y'all be fighting all the time. But let's go on to some more. Hit the number 1 button. Let's keep it pushing. And again, I'm not the only black person.
War so bad, bro, and it's so painfully obvious. You deployed troops at these heavily black populated cities with black mayors, knowing good and goddamn well that that's not where the most crime is. A motherfucking white racist, white supremacist gets killed by a white man, and then we start threatening bomb threats at the HBCUs. It's so obvious that these motherfuckers want a race war. They want a civil war. It's so clear.
And that's why we're resting. The ancestors told us we're going to stay in the house. We're not going to be out there fooling with y'all. You want us, you got to come over here where we are.
But why? Because us,
and they've tried that too.
This is the United States population. We're not stupid enough to think that whoever is trying to get this to happen doesn't have some type of agenda, you know what I'm saying? And more than likely, it's a cash-based agenda. I mean, this is the United States. But that truly brings up the question, who in this country is really going to profit off of a civil war? Who?
See, it's the poor people. It's the poor whites. Let me break this down to you guys. Poor white people have been brainwashed to believe that they're better than the black and the brown people. Who did it to them? The rich whites. Do you know the ones out there eating babies at Epstein Island? Those rich white people told the poor whites, hey, yeah, you're like us. You know, the ones that are so rich, they don't even know what else to do with themselves. Yeah, those white people are what the poor white people aspire to be, and they will never be. You will never be a billionaire, Brad. Brad, you will never, ever be a billionaire. Ever, ever, ever. You might not even crack the $100,000 mark. You lucky if you got $20,000 in your bank account. Cash. I'm not talking about that funny money that you all invest in the stock market that they take away from you periodically every 17 to 15 years. Oh, my 401k is down. I just lost half my life savings. That's the treadmill that you're on. That's the game. There's a reason that's the game, okay? And so these poor white people have been lied to since way back in Bacon's Rebellion because they told poor white people, look, you know, we don't want you guys teaming up with those natives and those blacks. You're like us. You're white. And we'll give you a few more rights and a few more privileges than they have. And, you know, so you can kind of be like us. And then you can help maintain the racial caste system. And, you know, we'll look at you as you're more important. The truth is they don't care about you poor whites either. You're too poor. They don't care about you either. You're just white trash to them. You just like, you know, they call us N-words. You guys are white N-words. Okay? That's what you need to understand. They don't like you either. Okay? They make you think you like you because they make you think they like you because they use you as a buffer. Now, you've been going for it all these years, and now you're looking up, and here we are, 2026, and technology and education, and the world has gotten smaller, and it's extremely hard to maintain that illusion for you. Because, yeah, you might have more rights than this black person, but gosh, he has a Rolls Royce. He has a mansion, and here you are living in a trailer park on welfare, strung out on meth with horrible kids, and a wife that doesn't like you. And you've been brainwashed to believe that you're better than these black people. Oh, and the Asians got them ticked off too, because they do better than them financially, better on test scores, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's hard to maintain that illusion. So now you got this nationalist movement with Donald Trump who say, hey, you know what? We're gonna change these things. We're gonna bring down the prices of everything. We're gonna run these Mexicans up out of here. We're gonna get these brown people. Now the truth is, by this time, Barack Obama had already sent home, I think, 500,000 more people than Trump. Okay, so Barack Obama's effectiveness at deporting, they call him the deporter in chief. All right, but the spectacle that's being made, it appeases these poor white people's perception that they're getting their country back. So it's all performative. Nothing's going to happen at all. Nothing. As soon as Donald Trump is out of here in 3 more years, these white folk going to put another Democratic president in charge, and they're going to open up the southern border again, and all those people are going to be back. Okay, so it's all for nothing. It's all for show. It feels good, but at some point, this country is going to be majority brown and black, and white people are going to be a minority. It's going to happen largely because you're not having kids, number one. And I know that's frustrating for a lot of white people who want this white ethno state. But again, the elites don't care what you want. They don't care about you. And as long as they can keep you thinking they care about you, and as long as they keep you white folk thinking you have some sort of privilege because you're white, they'll keep you on the string. And see, now that's why they're appeasing you with this performative racial targeting that they have going on, just to hold you down for another 3 or 4 years. And then they'll find some other way to hold you down and keep you satisfied. But they don't like you either. And so that typical white man is so frustrated because he's still seeing this, he doesn't see any change. Now he just wants to go to war. This is his way of expressing himself. He's throwing a tantrum because mommy and daddy elite are too busy at Epstein Island and won't give him the privileges that he said he's supposed to get. I'm a white man. This is a white man's country. And the truth is, it never was meant to be a white man's country. Do you know that the reason that we were fighting the Revolutionary War is because Great Britain started putting African black troops over here and arming them? And there was a case that happened, and they said, yeah, we're going to go ahead and do away with the slave trade because it doesn't benefit us anymore. And they saw that was coming to the colonies, and they didn't want to mess up what they had. Because remember, these people weren't treated very well in England and Europe. They came over here and they had their own little autonomous kingdoms. They could have sex with all the women. They had money. They could, basically they had their own little fiefdom. They didn't want to mess that up. So I need you to understand that. But there's a war by, I put the book up. There's a book called The Counter-Revolutionary War of 1776 by Dr. Horn. You guys should check that out. But bottom line, that's what's going on. These guys, a bunch of angry white men. But let's look at some more people telling us, are y'all learning stuff? Let me know if you're learning something. Let's keep
all white world.
Mm-hmm. What you
but
say,
they
baby?
Can't survive it.
Now I'm only gonna listen to you. I'm only gonna listen to you because you're cute. That's the only reason you here, because you're cute. I don't know if that's a filter or not, but you're cute, and I want my people to see good-looking people. I'm trying to do better, good-looking people. So y'all don't have to, I know, I got some spots on my face, so I need to pretty the place up. But let's listen to what the little lady has to say.
Want an all-white world.
That's what they want.
But they can't survive it.
They sure can't.
Many European bloodlines.
They lazy. White people are lazy. I think we all can collectively agree that they don't want to do their own work. They're pretty lazy, okay? Arabs don't either. They like to come take over people's stuff. They don't like to do their own work. They want us to do it. Mm-hmm.
Are products of centuries of incest. A genetic collapse hiding in plain sight. Inbreeding increases the risk of genetic disorders.
Yes, it does.
And birth complications.
She look at me like her eyes look crazy. She look like this is not like, her eyes are having a different conversation than this intelligent stuff she's saying. Look at them eyes. Fellas, if you came home and your girl was looking at you like that, you'd be wise to be quiet or go in your room, or maybe just turn around and go out the door. This looks like you guilty. You guilty, you did something, and I know what you did. I downloaded your phone records. Don't worry about how I got your T-Mobile password, okay? Don't worry about that. I downloaded it. I know you've been calling your baby mama. So we need to talk. That's what this looked like to me. Shout out to C-Dawn. I'm going to let her finish saying what she's saying. Don't be scared. Just don't look. Don't look in the eyes.
Anthropologists and geneticists, they know this. Diversity is essential for survival. Yet the narrative of white purity persists.
Yes.
A religious and ideological ruse. These churches preach violence against women.
They do.
They reduce women to reproductive vessels.
They got to keep that white woman in line. This white woman been given. Look, let me tell you, the white woman is the rest of the earth's best friend. As long as that white man has to pay attention to that white woman, but she is good. Shout out to all the white women. You white women have been giving that white man hell since he gave y'all the right to vote. Y'all took his money, took his kids with divorce. Y'all have gave that white man hell. He been so busy dealing with the white woman, he ain't had time to wreak havoc on the rest of the earth. He ain't made it to Mars yet. He can't even get to Mars. He been trying to get to Mars and get off this planet with all us dark people for decades now. He can't even get to Mars because every time he look up, the white woman is taking his kids and his money. Darn it. I know why he mad. That white woman is out of pocket. That white woman is giving him hell. And he's like, darn it, we're going to outlaw baby deletions and you're going to go back in the kitchen. We're going to do away with this DEI. You're going to take your butt back to the kid. They all mad as Nick Fuentes. You see Nick Fuentes, that's the typical angry white. He is that angry, that's the angry white man model right there. All that stuff he's saying, mad. They are mad. They mad at that white woman. It ain't us. We didn't do nothing. Every time they get mad at that white woman, they want to take it out on everybody else. Becky and Karen and Sharon, they're angry with them. That's what's going on. It ain't us. We didn't do nothing. We gonna be here. Becky's giving them hell. Becky is his problem. That ain't our problem. We didn't do nothing, but that's your woman. What you doing? She giving him the blues. He mad at everybody else. He needed to go home and deal with his woman. Talking about he want war. You need to go home and deal with your woman. That's what you need to do. She give him hell. She wake up. She cold in the bedroom. She don't give him nothing. She ain't cooking. He don't get nothing. That's why he mad. Has nothing to do with us. This is why that white man is mad. She ain't been right since the 50s. That's why they want to go back to the 50s. They want to push Uno reverse, go back to the 50s, get the laws back out. It's too late. You can't do nothing with that white. That white woman, look, let me tell you something. That white woman ain't going back to that white man. You can see all the white women go to any NBA game, okay? Go to any NBA game and wait till the players get released to go to the bus. All the white women are back there. All the white women are right back there, and Brad can't stand it. You understand me? It just burns him up. But let's keep, and they don't like the fact that some of the white men are jumping ship. Some of them white dudes are like, well, got me a little brown woman, once you go down on the brown, you got to stay down. That's what's happening. I know what's going on with y'all. Y'all got to hold your line. I'm saying I get what you're mad, but we don't want to go to war with nobody. Ain't nobody trying to fight with y'all. Y'all fight dirty anyway. Let's keep going. Go ahead.
And codify inequality with their scripture. And the irony, in all white lineage, that's genetically unsustainable.
You can't, yeah.
And the only ones that will actually survive are those with enough diversity in their gene pool.
That's it.
You know that dirty word, diversity?
Diversity, I know.
So any dream of white supremacy is actually biological death sentence. And at this point, why fight it?
Yeah, it's like she's talking to her white boyfriend. That's what why fight it? Come on, Brad, come on back in here and give me one of them little babies. That's what it feel like. Feel like she had this conversation in her mind with her ex-boyfriend who was white. And he, that's what it sounded like to me. But go ahead.
Let them continue. Because nature will take her course, as she already has with declining birth rates. Europeans...
She got a white baby daddy.
Just don't get it. They never could. Racial purity is suicidal. Yeah. It's not just suicide.
Racial purity is suicidal. Go ahead. Let's have a couple more babies, and we'll be all right, Brad. That's what it sounds like to me. Andy, she married Andy.
It's immoral. Europeans have been practicing it since their existence.
She too bold to be talking to white people like this. You got a white boyfriend. I know you do. I know you do. You got a white, you can't be this bold. See, white dudes, let me tell you something, what I've learned. Black dudes, when they have like white girlfriends, it's easy for them to be pro-black, quote unquote, because they get to talk a lot of stuff and say, well, see, I got a white girlfriend. I got a white wife. So that's how they get off with that. Like they can get away with saying all kind of crazy stuff. Same thing with white women with black boyfriends. They can try to call you the N-word when you're coming out to Walmart. You're out there getting your Subway sandwich and you can bump them a little bit. Excuse me, N-word, hold on a minute. That's all. You can't call me racist. I got a baby daddy. Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. You see what I'm saying? Slow down. Slow down there, mayonnaise queen. Slow down. And the same thing goes black women. She got a white man in her life. Probably got a couple of them. So you too well spoken. You're a little too well spoken. You got you a Brad in your past, baby girl. I know what you've been doing. I mean, you did. I know what you've been doing. Let's go ahead and let her finish.
But science warns us that path shrinks bodies and communities. So, by all means, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because diversity is the evolutionary lifeline to humanity.
Okay, baby.
And Europeans still don't get it.
She talking to her boyfriend. Yeah. I'm gonna let you go. Let's go ahead and see what else see what this white woman has to say about white people. Go ahead, white woman.
You cannot love a group of people who are not moved by love into action. White Americans are not moved by love. We, white Americans, are...
Now, baby, you're not quite white. I'm looking at you. I can look at you and tell you're not quite white. I've been looking at not quite white people my whole life. Remember, I'm from here. My people from here. I can look at you and tell. You got a little glazed tint about yourself. You ain't quite white, but I'm gonna let you finish. Go ahead.
Are the most hyper-individualistic group of humans on the planet. And when you are hyper-individualistic, you must inherently not be for the collective. When you're not for the collective, you have to shut yourself off from large parts of your emotional, natural human instincts.
I'm thinking Middle Eastern. I'm thinking a little Persian in there somewhere, maybe a little Italian. This is what I'm thinking. But go ahead, baby.
You have to choose to ignore the suffering and the plights of other people. And that is the truth for the majority of white Americans. The majority of white Americans do not want to dismantle the system that they benefit from.
Why would you want to dismantle the system that you benefit? If I had a system with, boy, let me tell you something. If I had a system where I got a bunch of free stuff just because I'm, red, I'd be like, hell yeah. Let's keep this going for another 100 years, god darn it. Hell yeah. What you mean? I'm not mad at white people for setting up systems that benefit white people. Look, let me tell you something, white people. I'm not angry with you for setting up systems that benefit you. I'm just mad that when black people set up our little systems, y'all come mess our little systems up. When we had our little universities, you took our money, you underfunded them. When we had our little towns around the world, around the country, like Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Rosewood, you come mess up our stuff. It'd be cool. Y'all just focus on y'all system and leave our systems alone. But y'all want to come over here and mess up what do you got over there? What are you doing over there, Jamal? You want to look over the fence, see what we doing? Leave us alone, okay? Let me re-emphasize. Black people just want y'all to leave us alone. Just leave us alone. If y'all would just leave us alone, we'd be all right. We don't need y'all like that. Y'all be other than stealing our music. You coming to our clubs and dancing in the middle of don't nobody want to see you there. We just entertain. Yeah, look at it. If you ever want to see black people perform, what I want you to do is just a white person comes in the middle of a black club and starts dancing and doing the best job they can. Black people, yeah, that's right. Go ahead, Tom. You're doing a great job. We just performing because we really want you to leave. We want you to have a good time so you don't go tell nobody something happened to you, then they're going to come in there and mess up our thing. You see what I mean? So we performing for you. Just make them feel good. Get on out there. Y'all love it. Oh man, they love me down there. Oh my, I can't wait to go back. We don't want you to come back. We don't want you to come back. Okay, but you come back anyway, and then you bring more of it. Next thing you know, next thing is a Starbucks down here and a white woman with a baby stroller jogging and just gentrified the whole community. That's what happened in Brooklyn. That's what happened in Brooklyn. Y'all was nice to the white people who showed up at the club. They had kids, and next thing you know, they wanted to move into Brooklyn, and now Brooklyn has been retaken. We gentrified. We retook Brooklyn, and they took it back from us. Okay? Because you all want to be performing and clapping for these white folk when they come to the club. But anyway, go ahead, little Italian lady, whatever you are.
They statistically, factually, and historically vote to not give people rights.
Yes.
They don't care about said people.
They don't. The hell no. Care about them either. Shit, what you mean? If I had rights, more rights than somebody else, you damn right I'm going to try to keep that in play. Wouldn't y'all? If somebody come in your house and your mama say, look, Brenda. Look, Keisha, Brenda, and Megan, y'all let this white girl eat y'all sandwich, and y'all just go sit in the back. You be like, hell no, mama, this is my house. That's how white people feel. This is our country, and we're going to set up everything for us, okay? You see what I'm saying? And that's what people do in their own country. Black people are just in a very unique position because we didn't ask to be here. We stuck here, okay? So they kind of got to give us stuff. But the problem is, you know, you got all these other immigrants and folk who come over here and pretend to be us. They hide behind our identity and get free stuff. And that's kind of messed up the program. Mm-hmm.
And ironically, guilt actually might move them because they're incredibly puritanical.
I don't know what she's talking about. But anyway, let's move on to the next one. Y'all hit let's keep it pushing. Let's see what else we got here since we talking about war.
You're a young man. Why do men go to war and why don't women go to war? Mm-hmm. So in this world, the women are in control. So women have all the status. But over time, as populations increase, you have young men who have no families. And these young men are discarded from the societies because of lack of resources. Mm-hmm. So these young men now have a problem. They need to find wives in order to survive. So these young men start to raid other societies in order to capture women. So in this society, it's never young women who are discarded because they have value to their society. It's always young men who are discarded. And as a result...
So basically what he's saying, it's a bunch of horny young men out there who can't get laid. And so they get so frustrated, they just start tearing up shit. Excuse me, I shouldn't be cursing. Forgive me, I shouldn't be cursing. Family friendly. Okay, but that's basically what he's saying. You got a bunch of angry young men who can't get laid, and so now they want to tear up everything because the world didn't work right for them. They don't want to compete. Okay, that's what it is. So they go start tearing up stuff in other places. That's the general reason.
So these young men become like wolves. Okay, they become like a wolf pack who then go and pillage other villages. And that's how you start. And that's how you have the origin of war. Okay, does that make sense?
That's very simple. That's very simple. I mean, does that explain Vietnam? I don't know. Does it explain? I mean, it seems like maybe historic times, like nobody's raiding. These young men don't even like women like that. Let me just be honest with you. These young brothers, young men, they don't even like each other. Okay, they are not. They're looking to play Call of Duty. That's what they're looking to play. They're not looking for the booty. They're looking for Call of Duty. That's what they're looking for. I don't know if you noticed, but things have changed. Okay, they're just not. They're what do they call this? They trying to make themselves look pretty. What is this thing they got? Glow up or I forget what it's called, man. These young dudes are out here doing something. They trying to make themselves look better or something. I forget what it's called, man. But they don't even like girls. Okay, they don't even like girls. You don't have to worry about that. They are not going out to conquer anything. All right, they might go conquer a manicure and a pedicure. They might get their eyebrows trimmed. That's what they out here do. Looks maxing. They out here looks maxing. That's what they're doing. Okay, so that's not it, sir. I believe there was a study that came out about these mice. I forget what it's called. It was a mouse project. And basically what happened was they put about, I guess, 8 boy mice, 8 girl mice in a container. It was a perfect place for mice. It was like mouse heaven. And so over time, what ended up happening was the mice bred, they had kids and, little baby mice. And they kept breeding. They kept having so many baby mice. And at some point, because there was so much the place was overcrowded. There was so much social contact that the boy mice lost interest in the girl mice because there was so many of them. And so what you see happening right now is social media has made it so easy. It's called the mouse utopia. Social media has made it so easy for us to reach out and touch her. This is the most people we've had contact with since the beginning of civilization. There's never been a time when you could literally reach out and be in contact with billions of people at the same time. And that sort of social interaction, it causes men to lose their hunger to seek female attention. Whether we're talking about the corn, the corn starting with a P, or whether we're talking about the interaction. You see all this stuff on Instagram and so on and so forth. They're not even interested, and they're focused on grooming themselves, and that's it. And at some point, they stop breeding and interacting with each other. It's just not interested. It's too much social contact. Human beings were not designed to have this. We're social creatures, but we're not supposed to have this much contact with each other. We weren't designed, but not this social. The senses have been oversaturated. Okay. Now, what I need you all to do for me is go ahead and do what you're supposed to do. Okay. I need y'all to do what you got to do, and you know what you got to do. All right, you know what you got to do. I need y'all to make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Let me see what my subscriptions look like. We ain't taking a break, but you all need to go ahead and, are you learning something? If you hadn't learned anything, you just hard to teach. But if you learn something, I should earn something. But in the meantime, I need y'all to make sure, apparently YouTube took 20 of my subscribers away for whatever reasons. I need you all to make sure you are still subscribed to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel right now. Take the time to subscribe to the channel. I'm checking to see what my subscriptions look like right now. I need you all to take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel. You'll never get another person as bold as me. I need, I need approximately 18 people to subscribe to the channel so I can get to 92,600. I need 18 people to subscribe to the channel so I can get to 92,600. Okay, so take the time and hit your little button and subscribe to the channel right now. I know you hear me. I know you hear me. I know. I'm looking at you. You right there. You with your phone like this on the side of your face. I'm looking you in the pickup, you in the truck with your phone down there listening to me in your truck. You riding across the country. Yeah, you. I need you to subscribe to the channel right now. Don't play. All right? Go ahead. Go ahead. You sitting in there ignoring your girlfriend, listening to me, go ahead and do it. Go ahead. Everybody who have something else to do and you sat up here and decide to listen to me with your earphones on, subscribe to the channel right now. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. Yes, you. Is he talking to me? I'm talking to you. You with the shirt on. I'm talking to you right now. And I'm talking to you too, lady. I'm talking to you with the bonnet on your head. All the women with bonnets on your head. Every woman with a bonnet on her head, I need you to subscribe to the channel right now. All right? Fellas. All the fellas with crusty feet, I need you to subscribe to the channel right now. I need my crusty feet crew. All the brothers that have not put lotion on their feet and they got ashy ankles, I need you to subscribe to the channel. All the white supremacists who are waiting around for me to get the black committee to issue an official apology, I need y'all to hit the subscribe button now. Go ahead and do it. All the angry Muslims, all the angry black Muslims, I need you to come in here. I need you to subscribe. You need to hear this. You need to come on up in and hear this. I need 6 more people to subscribe to the channel right now. All you angry, come on. Come on now. Don't run from it. Don't just be happy it's not your day. Just be happy it's not your day. I'll be on them. When people die, I give them their day. Haitians, they caught hands last week. The poor Haitians, they was like, what are you doing to me? We are doing. Yeah, I caught hands. It's not your day today, baby. Subscribe to the channel today. Go ahead. We need 5 more people to subscribe to the channel, and I'll get back to work. I need 5 people. Out of 600-700 of y'all, I need 5 folk. You send this to a friend. Send this to your Muslim friend. He about to do his hadith. You over there, talking about don't eat pork. Don't eat pork. Send him this. Next time you say, that's why I've been eating them pork rinds in front of you right now. I didn't know. Yeah. I need 5 people. All I need is 5 people to subscribe to the channel, and we will be at 92,000. Okay, I need 4 people. Don't hate watch. You're not going to sit up here and hate watch me. You're going to subscribe to this channel. 3 people. I need 3 people to subscribe to the channel. I need 3 more people. Look where we at. I want y'all to see where we at. Okay? See that? See, you can't see. It's almost, I need 3 people to subscribe to the channel, and I get back to work. I got more to say. I'll talk to you. 2 people. I need 2 people. I got 92,598 people. Subscribe to the channel now. 1 person. I need 1 person to get me to 92,600. And I get back to work. I'm going to get back to work as soon as y'all give me my 92,600 people. There we go. Praise God. See, that wasn't so hard, was it? Now let's get back. Let's get back to where we at. I'd like to thank all the crusty feet people, all the ladies with bonnets on. Okay, I'd like to thank all the angry Muslims, all the white supremacists. Everybody's welcome here with Uncle D, baby. Everybody welcome to get this work. Uncle D is passing out the truth over here. I'm here to hurt your ears, make you feel bad. Yeah, next time they tell you don't eat that pork sandwich, brother. You know you worshiping the damn racist ass religion. You got that brother-in-law trying to, yeah, man, when you gonna come down to the mosque? You know you racist, man. But anyway. Yeah, so how do we start?
Starting a race war with a race that was bred for war. Mm-hmm. You understand that's what we're bred for, don't you? You have to understand some shit, okay? Majority of us, we are born into ammunition and firearms. We are born into more ammunition than the National fucking Guard. Yes. We are taught to hunt and survive off the land. We are taught that we don't need the government to give us shit. I have a feeling you're taught to be a victim and that the government owes you something. We're not the same.
We're not the same. Now let's go. That's where we started, and here's another
Painted themselves in a hood is because they're such horrible shots. So you really think you're gonna beat a duck hunter? If there was a race war, you wouldn't win.
White people would lose a race war because
this is where we started. Okay, this is where we are. Okay, this is why I got on this. Okay, because this is these people are in an uproar, but this is why we're resting. This is why the ancestors told us collectively these folk are looking for a fight. Not all of them, but it's enough of them, and so we're gonna rest. But now, since he brought it up, okay, right? He won't talk about war and all that stuff. Let's talk about it, okay? Now, but we're gonna get factual because we're not like them, okay? Nearly 1/5 of the United States Armed Forces today, 1/5 of the Armed Forces today are black service members. Black Americans are overrepresented in the military relative to the population share. I want you to understand that we comprise 13% of the population, yet we are 1/5, 20% of the soldiers, Marines, corpsmen, Navy cadet. You understand? And most of those are men. I need y'all to understand that. 1/5. So for the most part, yeah, I know we got men and women in the military, but largely we're overrepresented in the military. We never talk about that. We always talk about, oh, you're overrepresented in jail. You're overrepresented in prison. You're overrepresented in dead. Man, all the bad stuff. We never talk about these black dudes are actually 20% of the U.S. military. That's a sizable amount. And that's not speculation. That's the Department of, as they say, war, really the Department of Defense. Can't wait till that name goes back. But before anybody starts talking about, we were built for war, let's slow down and look at the reality. Because as of 2026, the United States military, again, is 2.1 million active duty personnel. All right? That includes 1.3 million, or should I say it's 2.1 million total personnel, 1.3 million active duty servicemen, and that's more than 772,000 people in Reserve, National Guard. Army alone has 454 active duty soldiers. The Navy has 334,000. The Air Force has 3,200. The Marine Corps has 172,000. Coast Guard has 50,000. Space Force, we trying to get to Mars. As soon as that white man can get that white woman under control, we gonna take us to Mars. But they have 10,500. And this is the largest, most funded, and most powerful military in the world, with a budget approaching $1 trillion and more than 750 bases overseas. It's not a small force. Okay? It's not a small force. It's a global machine. Now, here's the part people rarely talk about. Again, as I said, nearly 1/5 of that force is black. In the Army, about 20.3% are active duty personnel are black. That's 95,000 black soldiers in just one branch. Across the military overall, you have black service members, and they've consistently made up 16% and 20% of active duty services. Okay? Black Americans make up only 13 to 14% of the U.S. population, and yet in several branches of the military, we are represented at higher rates than the share of our population. And that means that black Americans are overrepresented in military service. We constantly hear about incarceration. We hear about poverty rates. We hear about crime. We hear about social problems. But we almost never hear about the fact that millions of black Americans have worn the uniform of the United States military. As of 2023, there are over 2.3 million black veterans in the country. Okay? That means millions of black men and women have been trained for combat and deployed overseas and studied military strategy and operated advanced weapon systems and defended American interests around the world. So when someone says we're built for war, you need to ask yourself, are you trained for war? Because we have millions of black people that are. Okay? Since you want to pick a fight with us, we don't want to fight you. But we also need to ask some serious questions. Who is we? Because if you start talking about civil war and internal conflict or armed resistance in the United States, you're talking about a country whose military includes nearly 1/5 black personnel. You're talking about police forces and National Guard units and racially mixed people. Who they gonna fight for? Your mama white, your daddy black? What? You're talking about veterans who live in every state, including California, Virginia, Texas, where the largest concentrations of active duty troops are stationed. So what does it actually mean when you start talking about war in that context? It means you're talking about a conflict in which people you may be angry at are also inside the military structure itself. It means that any fantasy about going to war against black people ignores the fact that black Americans are embedded in the armed forces in command structures, in logistic networks, in intelligence system and combat units. And when 1/5 of your military is black, okay, not 5%, 1/5, the idea of targeting black people in a war scenario is not just morally wrong, it's strategically irrational. You're not describing some outside enemy. You're not describing fellow citizens who've already proven that they're trained, organized, and disciplined and capable. And see, here's the deeper truth. Black Americans have fought in every major war from World War II, World War I, from Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan. Black service members have fought for this country. And even when the country denied us full rights, we fought. And we didn't fight because we were built for war. That's something stupid to say. We fought because service was one of the few pathways open to dignity and advancement and proof of citizenship and loyalty to this country. So when people start romanticizing war, especially civil conflict, they're not just talking about ideology. They're talking about real consequences. They're talking about real Americans, millions of us, who have training, experience, and a record of sacrifice. See, people throw these weirdos throw this term war around like it's a slogan. It's not a fantasy. It's not a tweet. Okay? It's not a social media post. It's not a TikTok video. We're talking about blood. We're talking about loss. We're talking about families destroyed and communities shattered. And we're talking about 1/5 of your military are the very people you claim are the problem. And then the rhetoric stops being bold and it starts being reckless. So when someone says we're built for war, the question is again, who? Now let's get down to it some more. Are y'all? I know we're gonna get there. I'm not finished yet. Okay, this is the warm up. Now the truth is, you think you're gonna be. You heard what the young lady said, right? She thought. She said, you think you're gonna be fighting a bunch of homeboys holding a 9mm sideways, shooting everything but the target in front of them. That's why you so confident. That's why they're so comfortable talking reckless. And I'm not talking about all white people. I'm talking about these crazy ones that got issues. You see? I'm talking about the white men with little dicks and the white women whose baby daddy is black. And she mad at him. That's the one I'm talking about. Okay? So let me give you some real numbers. No disrespect to the white women who have black, but I'm talking about the white women who are really just trying to egg these white men on to try to boost their page numbers. See, a lot of these white women are just saying that stuff because it helps build their pages. Like that white girl Pearl. I told y'all years ago, I said I wouldn't. I'm not gonna play that game. We already know who you are. I think I was probably one of the only major YouTubers who was like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna pass on it. And you can look at my track record. I was telling y'all back then who you were dealing with. That's why I was hesitant. My radar is always up. I don't fool with everybody. You see? Because she had all these black friends, and then when that went south, now she's gone straight Nick Fuentes. And the funny thing, and y'all mark my words, Nick Fuentes' ass is gonna end up in Argentina with some big booty Latina with some big old breasts he could just put his face in every day. He needs some pussy. I know I should be cussing. I'm sorry, but that's basically his problem. He's a little short man, little short, half Mexican Italian, and he frustrated about his life. But as soon as he's able to get his little money up, he's gonna be out of here. He's gonna abandon all the little white supremacists, all the little incels, and he's gonna go on out there and do his thing. But again, he's a little shit, a little turd. Excuse my language. I'm a little bothered by this whole conversation. I think it's silly, and I think it's dangerous. And I hope the FBI goes to visit that individual talking that stuff. Okay, but again, let's start with the fact that the vast majority of black people live down south. Since you want to talk about going to war, and all of us have guns. Okay. And it's the most American thing you can do, which is to own a firearm. It's part of our own designated amendments, and we take pride in that. We do. This is not 1950 when we are poor, scary people. We are not a scary people. Even with this Epstein thing, we're not surprised about these Epstein people. We know these are just some white folk doing white folk shit. Nobody's afraid of you. We're not afraid of the Illuminati. It's just a bunch of white folk doing white folk shit. Been doing the same thing. They used to be able to scare black people when they would ride around with hoods on and burn crosses in the yard because we were spooky people. And that was the problem that Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. They would say all the time, y'all are spooky, superstitious people. These white boys put some sheets on and ride around the community with horses on, scaring y'all. And y'all think they're ghosts. They used to call them haints. My grandma used to call them haints. That's what the word they had for ghosts, haints. And they would do that to try to scare. We're not scared anymore. We are not a scary people. And on top of that, we're armed. We ain't coming after you with a rifle, okay? We're not coming after you with a shotgun if you get to trying to hurt one of us, okay? It's not 1950, period. And it's just silly. But the bottom line is, because I know this is in some of these people's head, we don't see, just because we don't take pictures with our firearms on Christmas holidays and send them around for postcards, that doesn't mean we don't have them. We don't need to show them. That's something you all do. That's silly. That's an exercise in low testosterone and low self-esteem. That's what those type of men do. And see? Now let's take the conversation one step further. We've already established that 1/5 of the active duty military is black. But see, that's just the people currently serving right now. What about the ones who've already served? That's 2.3 million black people who are veterans walking around the United States, men and women. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, National Guard, combat veterans, logistics specialists, intelligence analysts, pilots, engineers, medics, snipers, tank operators, people who've actually trained for war, not talked about it online, not fantasized about it in the comments section, not putting up some damn TikTok videos from your ranch. They're not role playing on social media. They train for it in real life. And that means you have millions of black Americans understand weapon systems, chain of command, communications, terrain strategy, urban warfare principles, and what sustained conflict actually does to the human mind and body. You all are unaliving yourself at the highest rate. You know who's unsafe? White men with their own firearms. You all are unaliving yourself. You the biggest danger to yourself. That's where a large part of this gun violence come from. White boys unaliving themselves. And you talking about you built for war? Obviously not. Because PTSD is taking y'all out. We hear it all the time. Built for war, my butt. But we got black people that know what artillery sounds like. And know what it means like to lose a friend in uniform and keep moving. They know what the aftermath looks like. I mean, the loudest voices on the internet, these are talking about Civil War, have never lived inside that reality. And see, that's what matters, because war is not a slogan. It's not a meme, and it's not chest-pounding masculinity. It's chaos. It's infrastructure collapse. It's hospitals overwhelmed. It's grocery stores empty. It's power grids failing. It's neighborhoods turning into battlefields. People talking about going to war as if it's going to be some clean event. Like the girl talking about, it's a duck hunt. This ain't a duck hunt. This is not a scoreboard. If violence break out inside the country, it does not look like two neat lines facing off in uniforms. It looks like confusion. It looks like neighbors turning into enemies. It looks like suspicion at every corner. It looks like children growing up around gunfire. It looks like police departments splitting. It looks like National Guard units deployed in our own hometowns. And here's the hard truth nobody wants to say out loud. When one group is fighting because they believe their life, family, or future is at stake, and that other group is fighting to prove a political point, history shows who usually fights harder. Desperation is a powerful motivator, because, see, it's going to be all of us, because you're trying to take all of us. And survival is stronger than fire. You ever want to see black people come together? Try something crazy like that, which is sad, silly selves. But see, the deeper issue is this: attempting to wage war against your own fellow American because of the color of their skin. That's one of the most unpatriotic acts imaginable. The United States is already a diverse nation living under one constitutional framework. We're not two separate countries. We share roads, we share hospitals, we share schools, we share businesses, we share military units, we share football teams, basketball teams, baseball teams. To tear that apart from within is not strength, it's destruction. And even if someone were reckless enough to push toward that edge, what happens the day after? Shout out to Red Sigma. Who rebuilds the infrastructure? Who restores the electricity? Who repairs the bridges? Who stabilizes the market? We know you white folk ain't gonna do it because you didn't build it the first time. We built it, then you brought the Chinese in, you got some Mexicans in, you got some immigrants in. But you didn't do it. Who prevents the foreign powers like China and Russia and all these other places from stepping in while the country is distracted and torn down? Who takes care of the veterans and the widows and the children? Who restores trust in communities where neighbors turn on neighbors? See, people say they want war, but they never talk about cleanup. They never talk about funerals. They never talk about the PTSD. They never talk about the economic collapse. They never talk about how long it takes to rebuild a country once you break it. There are over 2.3 million black veterans in this country who understand exactly what the costs look like. And that's why the loudest war talk rarely comes from those who have actually experienced it. Real soldiers and Marines and corpsmen, and they don't romanticize war. They've seen it. That's why we have all these black veterans and Vietnam veterans. You can't hardly get them to talk about the war. They don't want to talk about it. They don't romanticize the war. They respect its consequences. And when you understand how many trained veterans of every race live in this country, Hispanic, white, Asian, Middle Eastern, you realize something else. This is not a video game. This is not a movie. This is not a fantasy where one side wins and goes home satisfied. Civil conflict does not create heroes. It creates generations of damage. So before anyone says we're built for war like this fool did, maybe the better question is, were we built to destroy ourselves? Because if the answer to that is yes, then the real problem isn't who's willing to fight. It's who hasn't thought through what fighting actually means. Now, we're going to learn something. I got a program for you guys. I want y'all to check this out. I know we're about an hour into this thing, and I always appreciate you guys. Y'all make sure, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, you go ahead and do that now. We got 4 super chats in here, and I appreciate that. We're really about to get into the learning. I got a great broadcast here. We heavy into the broadcast right now, but I want to share a few photographs with you guys. I guess you can call them. Yeah, they're photographs. Let's see if we can pull these photographs up. This is going to lay the backdrop for where we're going with this. All right, y'all still with me? Are y'all okay? Is everybody okay? Are we still okay? Somebody mark safe in the chat room. If you're okay, mark safe. We safe from the crazy white man that wants to wage war. Somebody mark safe. Got the crazy white man that says black people, we don't want to have nothing to do with y'all. Matter of fact, given our druthers, we'd be as far away from you all as we could because we know you're crazy. And y'all know you're crazy. And now it's just getting silly. But you understand why we staying home? This is why we know. This is why we staying home. This is why we staying home on the couch. But anyway, so, because we're talking about demonstrated service, right? And battlefield performance and black American men, we fought in every war, whether we're Revolutionary War, War of 1812, Civil War, World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, Iraq. But see, here's the part that complicates the narrative. See, black men fought for a country that denied us full citizenship. Black veterans were lynched after World War I. Black soldiers came home from defeating Nazis and returned to segregation. So, no, we're not built for war. We're forced into proving ourselves through war. And that's not the same thing. Demonstrated service and war record, they tried to erase. So if we're talking about demonstrated service and sacrifice, if we're talking about real war, not slogans, and let's explain this properly because you don't know who you're dealing with, okay? You don't know the heritage of war fighting that already exists amongst black Americans. You don't know what has already been done. So let's talk about recent history, not mythology. Let's talk about some document dated history. Let's go back to December 7, 1941, Pearl Harbor. The United States entered into World War II. And by the end of the war, in 1945, 1,200,000 black Americans had served in uniform. Okay? Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, Yeah. Air Force, segregated units, separate barracks, separate blood supplies. They wouldn't even take our blood. I guess till they ran out. Now let's talk about what happened to those men when they came home. Start with the 92nd Infantry Division, the Buffalo Soldiers. Somebody type Buffalo Soldiers in the chat room. Activated on October 15, 1942, deployed to Italy in September 1944. They fought in the Apennine Mountains. It was a brutally cold winter. You understand? They had the Germans were entrenched. They were dug in. Shout out to Asher Reborn. And among them was a man named Lieutenant John R. Fox. On December 26, 1944, in Italy, the German forces launched a surprise counterattack during the Battle of the Bulge and the Italian over there, okay? And Lieutenant Fox, an artillery forward observer, he realized the German troops were overrunning his position, okay? And he radioed coordinates to the Allied artillery, knowing the strike might land right on his location, okay? In his final transmission, fire it. There's more of them than there are of us. In other words, this man was willing to sacrifice his own life to make sure that the enemy didn't get any further. I think I actually have a picture of him right here. Let me see if I can pull this picture up so you can see the brother. But anyway, the artillery landed and Fox and Lieutenant Fox was killed. And the German advance was stopped. So he was willing to sacrifice his own life for the cause. Okay? This is a photograph of him right here. All right? This is what we did. Okay? Now, they didn't give him the Medal of Honor until 1997, more than 50 years later, when the U.S. Army received records that had been overlooked for decades. Now, let's talk about the 761st Tank Battalion, the Black Panthers. Somebody type Black Panther in the chat room. Okay? Activated on April 1st, 1942. They trained for nearly 2 years at Camp Claiborne in Louisiana and Camp Hood over here in Texas, which is a little bit north of me. And the white officers debated whether the black soldiers could operate armored units effectively. And they landed in France in October 1944. And from 1944 to 1945, they fought for 183 days. Can you imagine being in the tank for 183 days? Not a mobile home, a tank in foreign land. You understand? It was the longest continued combat engagement of any American armored unit in Europe. They fought in the Battle of the Bulge. They helped break the Germans at Belgium. They pushed into the Germany itself. They captured town. Can you imagine hopping out? There's a bunch of black dudes and some tanks. Like, holy, hold on a minute. Where'd these black dudes come from? You see? Even General Patton, he initially doubted them, but he later had to acknowledge their performance. He said they're outstanding. And that battalion, they wouldn't receive the Presidential Unit Citation until 1978, but they got it. And then you got the Tuskegee Airmen. Somebody type Red Wing. Somebody type Red Wing or Red Tail. They were activated in 1941. First combat mission flown June 2nd, 1943 in Italy. The 332nd Fighter Group, the Red Tail. Somebody type Red Tails in the chat room. They flew more than 15,000 sorties. Some of y'all don't even like to fly coach. Can you imagine flying 15,000 times during the war? People trying to shoot you. They took care of American bombers. They went deep in German territory. And they had their bomber escort record became legendary. Bomber crews, the white boys said, we want them black dudes. They destroyed 260 enemy aircraft in the air and on the ground. And yet, even as they flew combat missions over Europe, when we got back home, they were still living in segregated facilities. Now, you want to talk about the Navy? Let's talk about some black soldiers, the black sailors. They manned ships in the Pacific. Because remember, we fought the Germans in Europe, and then we had to go back around and fight the Japanese in the Pacific. So that's why they say we fought a war on two fronts. But after the Port Chicago explosion on July 17th, 1944, when 320 men were killed in California doing a munitions loading, the majority of them were black soldiers, okay? Surviving black servicemen protested unsafe work conditions. All right, this is out here. And 50, they court-martialed some of them. And what became known as the Port Chicago Mutiny, the Navy would not officially exonerate them for decades. This is what we had to deal with. And see, and then there's a reality no one likes to discuss. Between 1945 and 1946, when black World War II veterans came home, they still had to deal with violence. Because remember, these uppity black people. They came home after waging war, and they were heroes, and they had to try to put us back in our place. And lo and behold, 5 years, 10 years later, that's how we ended. We fought so hard, they had to give us our civil rights. You can't give a man a gun and tell him he's honorable and give him permission to fight and don't think he's not going to come back and fight home. This is who we are. We are fighters. We might not be built for war, but we a damn sure fight. But there was a situation that happened on February 12, 1946 in Monroe, Georgia. Monroe, Georgia. A man named Maceo Snipes. He just voted in the Democratic primary and the first in which a black Georgian could legally participate. He was shot by a white man. He died 2 days later. July 25th, 1946. He was a veteran. And this is down in Taylor County, Georgia. George Dorsey, World War II veteran. His wife, Mae Murray Dorsey, along with Roger and Dorothy Malcolm, were lynched by a mob, estimated at 20 to 30 people, men. This became the Moore Ford lynching. No one was convicted. You understand? They killed him and his wife and two other people in 1946. This is what we came home to. I want you to understand that these were men who had worn a uniform for the United States Army, who had fought fascism abroad, who had survived artillery, machine gun, tank assaults, only to come home and be targeted for asserting basic citizenship. And see, that's documented history. Black veterans were attacked for wearing their uniforms in public. They didn't even want these people wearing their uniform. They didn't want these black men wearing their uniform and standing upright. They want you hunched over. And see, the message is clear. You may fight for the country, but you do not expect equality within. And yet, here's the part that matters. Those veterans didn't disappear. They organized, they joined the NAACP, they became part of the civil rights infrastructure. Many of the men pushed for desegregation and of armed forces, which President Harry S. Truman, he issued an executive order on July 26, 1948, and he integrated the military. And so when we talk about demonstrated service sacrifice, this is what it looks like. And see, we never took up armed weapons against our country to try to create a civil war. Now, we've defended ourselves. I talked about that last week. The Watts riots, we done burnt up some stuff. Okay, we will put fists and feet on you. Okay. But I need you to understand something. We're not a warlike people. That's not what we want to do. We want to chill out. We want to be left alone. Okay, and see, the thing is, serious people don't romanticize war. Serious people don't even romanticize fighters because the people who've actually fought it and survived it understood the cost. Now, I want to take y'all back again since they brought it up. Remember how we got here? You got some crazy white man talking about we want to go to war, and that ain't us. But since you want to talk about it, I want y'all to picture this. It's 1918. You standing in a forest in France, the mud is thick and heavy and cold. Machine gun fire is everywhere in the air. The trench, there's a man standing there with a rifle. Shake. They used to dig down. They used to dig like down in the dirt, 6, 7 feet, 10 feet down. And so this is trench fighting. This is a black man. He's sitting there with a gun in his hand, a rifle, holding a rifle, cold. Black man standing in the trench. His name was James, Robert, or Henry. You see? We don't know. History doesn't remember our heroes, but here's what history could not erase. More than 3,000 or 380,000 soldiers, black soldiers, served in World War I. They fought in the trenches of the Western Front. They fought in the forests of France. They died for a country that lynched them. They fought for democracy overseas while being denied it at home. When they came back, when they finally returned, white supremacy realized it had made a serious mistake. It had given black men guns and training uniforms and proof that they could fight, lead, and win. And for the next century, white America would try to make people forget what that meant. Go back to 1918, W.B. Du Bois called it closing ranks. He urged black Americans to support the war effort. The promise sounded simple: prove your loyalty, prove your courage, and America will finally see you as equals. But it was a lie. Still, nearly 400,000 black men answered the call. Shout out to Miss Renam. Not because they were foolish, but because sometimes resistance looks like participation. Sometimes you have to enter a rigged game to prove it wrong. They enlisted our brothers, our fathers, our grandfathers, our great-grandfathers. They were given the worst equipment. They were given the harshest labor. The U.S. Army didn't want them in combat. Many were made stevedores and laborers and cooks because the military leaders believed black men lacked the intelligence, courage for real warfare, even though we had been whooping their butt, okay? Even though we had fought in the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, the War of 1812, it's almost like, when I look at that, like, what do you mean we don't fight? Well, did y'all not just see we fought in the Civil War in 1865 and it's only 1819? It's not that, 1990, not that far away, sir. So it was just propaganda. They knew. But they didn't want to arm us again because they knew what happens. Every time we get these N-words guns, they come back here uppity. And they keep getting out the box. But see, here's what happened. Something very unexpected happened. The French army needed reinforcements. The French, unlike the American officers, the French, they said, bring the blocks. And so the U.S. military loaned black American soldiers to the French army, and that's how the 369th Infantry Regiment, they call them the Harlem Hellfighters. The Harlem Hellfighters. That's how they entered the war. They fought 191 straight days in combat. Some people go in for 2 weeks, come in for a day, come out. They fought 191 straight days. PTSD be damned. You understand me? This is what our black, so this is how they built 191 days straight. That's longer than any other American unit. You know they were trying to break them. You know they were trying to break our brothers, our grandfathers. Here's the thing. They never lost the trench. They never gave up ground and lost the trench. They never lost a man to get captured. In other words, we came here together, we're going to leave here together. Or you're going to leave in a body bag, but you still going to leave. And guess what? The French government awarded them the Cross de Guerre, which basically stands for the Cross of War. That's their highest military honor. And see, when them same men came back to New York City, they weren't even allowed to march beside the white soldiers in the victory parade. I want y'all to let that sink in. This is why these people don't know our history. This is why they think all of us shoot sideways. And see, then came the summer 1919, Red Summer. So think about it. We had just got out of war. We came back home. We feeling good about ourselves. You understand? They call it Red Summer because it was named because of all the blood that was shed. There was 25, they call them race riots, but the truth is white folk attacking black people. It happened in Washington, it happened in DC, it happened in Chicago, it happened in Elaine, Arkansas. These white folk specifically targeted black veterans, men who had worn a uniform and proven themselves on the battlefield. Why? Because these men carried themselves differently. They stood taller. They wore their uniforms proudly. They've experienced a taste of what freedom and equality looked like in France, and they refused to forget it when they got home. And white supremacists understood something dangerous. A black man with military training and confidence and proof that he could fight and win threatened the system of racial control. And there's a documented case from this in Georgia, a black veteran. His name was Wilbur Little. He came home wearing his uniform, and a bunch of white folk told him to take it off. And he said, I'm not going to do it. He refused, and they lynched him. And his crime was what? Wearing his uniform in the United States Army while being black. And see, this happened many times across the South. Black veterans were lynched for wearing their uniforms, for refusing to step off sidewalks, for looking white men in the eye. The same type of white men they had just fought against overseas. And of course, the message was brutal. It was clear. The war is over, and you can go on back to being in your place. But see, the white supremacists didn't expect what happened next. These men didn't give up. They're fighters. They're warriors. They organized. They became leaders in the community. And many took part they were the backbone of the civil rights movement. That's what happened. That's where your civil rights movement came from. These black men had stood up, and they came home, and they had that fire in their belly. You see? Shout out to Gunslinger. And this story has been buried. We always give Martin Luther King credit. We always give Malcolm X credit. Neither one of them was veterans. They teach you that World War I was a white man's war. Textbooks showed white soldiers and white generals, and that's what they told you. They tell you the black soldiers were reduced to a footnote. They don't tell you about the Harlem Hellfighters. You literally got to look that up. I didn't hear about that till I was a grown man, and I had to look. They barely mentioned the 92nd and the 93rd Infantry Divisions. They were a race. And that wasn't an accident. Because, see, admitting black soldiers' bravery meant admitting our humanity. It meant facing the contradiction of the nation that preached democracy while practicing segregation. And another thing, it means we're not a pushover. See, you got a lot of these white boys running around here thinking we a pushover. We just going to be shooting our 9mm sideways like these baby mama raised little boys in the ghetto. That's a new event. And that ain't everywhere. Let me tell you something. They even suppressed things about us. There's a man named General John Pershing, headquarters, sent a memo to French officers warning them not to treat black American soldiers as equals. This is what he said. Can you imagine that? You a general in the Army of the United States, and you send a letter to the headquarters of the French office and tell them, hey, don't treat our soldiers, don't treat those blacks equally. That's what he said. The memo was telling them, yeah, they're inferior, they're dangerous. And the U.S. military spread propaganda to its own allies about its own black soldiers to try to protect this white supremacy charade. Meanwhile, you got the French that these blacks have been fighting 191 days straight. They ain't lost nobody. They hadn't given up a ground. What you inferior? Give us about another million of those ones like that. That's what we want, another million of those. We win this war. But see, they couldn't erase it. You can go to France right now and look at what we've done. Black Americans. They got photographs, they have medals, they have French military records. They have family stories passed down through the generations. Take Henry Johnson, the railroad porter from Albany, New York. May 1918, he and another soldier fought more than 20 German attackers during a night raid. Johnson killed 4 Germans using his rifle and then his knife and then the butt of his gun. And when he ran out of ammunition, he was wounded 21 times. And the French gave him the Cross de Guerre, which is, again, that's the Cross of War. That's the highest medal they can give. You understand? They know who we are. And they're not talking about every kind of black. They talking about black Americans with special breed. I tell you, we are a special breed. Can you imagine that? This man fought 20 men, 20 armed soldiers. I need you to put that in perspective. You got 20 people trying to unalive you. 20 soldiers. And you one little black dude. This is Henry right here. He look like a Henry. Look at Henry. A porter. You understand? He basically shines shoes and stuff. So you tell this is not a Superman. This is a black man who works on a train and fought to. This is a typical black man you looking at right here. Tough as nails. This is what he did. Did you hear what I said? He fought 20 of them, shot 4 with his rifle and used his knife and the butt of his gun, which means he beat him to death with the butt of his gun until he ran out of ammunition. He shot it. He was wounded 21 times. Most of y'all get a splinter and fall out. Ah! Imagine, stabbed, shot 21 times. Now, when he came back home, when he got back home, Obama gave him the Medal of Honor in 2015. He was 97 years old, lived to be 97. And see, more other leaders, there's more others are unknown, you know? Sergeants who held down the trenches, medics who saved lives under fire, soldiers who carried wounded comrades through artillery. They went on. They did what they had to do, not because the system recognized them, but because their brothers needed them. And they wanted to prove their loyalty to this country. And here's the tragedy. They proved white supremacy was wrong, but white supremacy refused to admit it. Instead of changing, it rewrote the story. It erased the evidence. It reshaped history because the truth was too threatening to their little inferiority complex. And that matters today because the fight over who gets remembered and who gets erased is still happening. The same forces that buried this story still operate now. These soldiers fought they had to fight overseas and they had to come home and fight for their humanity. We refuse to accept the place that you all try to assign us. And see, this is not history. This is a blueprint. Again, sometimes resistance looks like wearing your uniform when told not to. Sometimes it looks like preserving stories when textbooks refuse to tell them. And that's why I'm here. See, they messed around and said, oh, we're not going to teach black history anymore. Well, that's why I'm here. Ain't God good? All you just did was create a market. My people want to hear the story of their heroes. All you did was just create a market by telling us you're going to take the stories of black people out of the textbook. We're going to teach our own stories. You're not going to get away with that. We're going to tell it. We're going to tell it to the mountain. And I'm just the one to do it. And this is how we demand our dignity. You understand me? Again, none of these wars, World War II didn't change white supremacy because it wanted to change. It changed because black men proved the lies wrong. And the courage was real and the leadership was real and our humanity was undeniable. And even when people tried to bury that truth and survive, I want y'all to remember them. I want you to remember them, not the symbols, but as men who fought to wars and had to come home and fight again. Now, I want y'all, let's remember where we started. I want you to remember how we got here today. This is how we got here today, okay?
The reason blacks have not exterminated themselves in the hood is because they're such horrible shots. So you really think you're gonna beat a duck hunter? If there was a race war, you wouldn't win.
White people would lose.
Okay, this is how we got here.
War with a race that was bred for war. You understand that's what we're bred for.
We got here because these two goofballs. Somebody type goofballs in the chat room. We're here because of these goofballs.
You're wanting to start a race war with a race that was bred for war. You understand that's what we're bred for, don't you? You have to understand some shit, okay? Majority of us, we are born into ammunition and firearms. We are born into more ammunition than the National fucking Guard.
I mean, look at this goofball right here, man. This is white people. Y'all need to get your people.
We are taught to hunt and survive off the land.
I mean, you're not talking about going to Iraq or Afghanistan. You just want to fight with your fellow Americans. That's what you want to do. As if black people hadn't been through enough. This is what you want to do. This is your expression of patriotism here. See, this is the problem.
We are taught that we don't need the government to give us.
Again, this is the group of men that represents the people who have the largest group of contingent of people on welfare, and you don't need the government.
Shit. I have a feeling you're taught to be a victim and that the government owes you something. Mm-hmm. We're not the same.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We are definitely not the same, because I can go all around the world as a black man and people will welcome me. You go around the world, people call you the colonizer. But anyway, this wouldn't be the first white man or the first group of white men to underestimate black people or black men. History is full of that mistake. And if we were actually taught history, he wouldn't be running his mouth, okay, with these goofy lines like you're built for war, as if black men don't have documented record of fighting in every major conflict this country has been in. So let me tell you another story about the Yahtzees. Since they look up to the Yahtzees so much, white racist men, the same kind of men that other races love to excuse or soften or admire, they had all that propaganda. They believe that. They really believe that until they can't. They had all the racial theories. They had all the confidence in the world. Shout out to Michelle Hallock. Thank you, baby. And when it came to face black American soldiers, that confidence turned into fear. And here's the reason. Here's the story behind it. The reason people say dumb things like you were built for war is because they were never taught the history, the true American history, the true history of black men in war in this country. They don't teach that, not the way they should. And because white supremacy and that kind of brainwashing, many white people grow up with some of them refuse to accept facts even when the record is right in front of them. If you knew better, you wouldn't talk like that. You would know black men had already been tested in real war, in real time, and against real armies, and we didn't fold. And here's the thing: the army. So many of you looked up to, and made the same mistake. You're not the only group of white men. He underestimated black men. Okay. Private Marcus Webb. Okay. Private Marcus Webb. His mama gave him a scarf. He used to wear it under his uniform. He was from Detroit. Wore it around his neck. He was in the Italian mountains in December 1944. He had a special kind of cold. You understand? It got into his bones and it stayed there. Private Webb stood watch on the second floor of a stone farmhouse outside of the village in, I believe it's called Soma Colonia, and his M1, right? He was there. He had his rifle right there on the windowsill. You could see he said it was so cold, you could see his breath raising. Behind him was Corporal James Cotton from Birmingham, Alabama. He slept sitting up against the wall. See what I'm saying? He slept sitting up. His helmet tipped forward a little bit, covering his eyes. They'd been in Italy for 4 months. Now part of the 92nd Infantry Division, the Buffalo Soldiers. Somebody type Buffalo Soldiers. Even though most white officers said that name like it was they, you know, they didn't like it, but they had to respect that. You see, it was a name that's meant to respect its history. You understand? So we got the names. Private Marcus Webb, right? Italy. (92nd Infantry). Well, anyway, they were there, and the other thing is Webb learned to expect much from those. He didn't expect much from them, and many of them, many came from Virginia, Georgia, Mississippi, and they looked at black soldiers like problems to manage, not troops to lead. And Webb left Webb felt the irony every day. He crossed an ocean to fight fascism, an idea built on the lie of racial superiority, only to find the same sickness inside his own army. So at Fort, I think it's called Huchawa in Arizona, where the 92nd trained for almost 2 years, segregation was strict. Black soldiers slept in separate barracks and ate in separate mess halls. Most of their officers were white, and many treated them with very, very disrespectful. A few officers, like Lieutenant John Fox, were different. Fox graduated from Wilberforce University, and he saw his men as soldiers first. But Fox was an exception. He was a white man, but he was an exception. Most of them were racist as hell. Well, Webb heard Cotton kind of shift a little bit, all right? And the younger man stood up behind him and looked out into the darkness where the mountain slopes had dropped toward the valley, right? And Cotton asked, "You see anything?" And Webb said, "Not yet, but they were coming." All right. And so the Parisians say the Germans have been moving troops in a position for 3 days. And so their reports were saying that they were planning something big. So Cotton, he nodded slowly, said, "Okay, yeah." And the word to come back become a dark joke. Okay. The same information or intelligence, as they call it, said the Germans viewed the Negro soldiers as inferior and not fit for real combat. Okay. The same intelligence that interpreted Germans' messages describing black soldiers as poorly trained and likely to break. This is what they said about us, right? This is what they said, okay? And then the brother said, "Let them come." He said, "Let them come. Let them come and see what we are." And Webb looked at Cotton, and Cotton was 21, and he enlisted fresh out of the steel mills of Birmingham, so you know he's strong. Well, he learned early that being black in America meant proving yourself again and again and again, and knowing proof was not ever, and no proof was ever enough. And now he was 22, and in the mountains of Italy had aged him fast. He's seen a lot. You see? They were, look, Webb asked Cotton, "You scared?" He said, "I'm terrified. But I've been terrified since we landed in Naples." And fear was it's just another thing to carry, what Webb said. And like this rifle, these frozen feet. And the question isn't whether you're scared. The question is, what do you do when the shooting starts? And so Lieutenant Fox appeared in the doorway. He was tired. He was exhausted. He hadn't slept in 2 days. He spent the nights moving between this position to that position, checking on his men, working with the Italians who knew the mountains like they knew their own hands. Okay, and then Fox came and he said, "Get the men up. I want everybody in position before the sun comes up, before first light. The Germans are coming today. I can feel it." Somebody type "I can feel it" in the chat room. So Webb and Cotton, they moved through the dark, waking up everybody else, and there were 40 American soldiers in Soma Colonia, plus twice that many Italians, and a few civilians who refused to leave. It was a small force to hold that mountain village, okay? But they were fortified well. They turned stone buildings into fighting position. They placed machine guns to cover the roads and paths, and they stacked ammunition and grenades. They dug in and they prepared. They prepared to fight. They made sure it's gonna cost them. And at sunrise, the sky turned blood red over the eastern peaks, and the snow-covered slopes glowed red and gold. And Webb thought it looked like a warning to him. And he took position in a second-story window and overlooked the main road. And from there, he could see down the mountain, down the narrow road, climbing from the valley, the movement of the trees a half mile away. He could see it a half mile away. And the Germans were coming. They came. They came with everything. And Webb heard the engines first, the tanks. He heard the tracks grinding up the mountain. He saw them. Can you imagine you hear something coming? You hear death coming, or death is coming for you. You can hear it. You can't see it, but you can hear it. And then he saw these tanks. They call them Panzer tanks. And then the infantrymen, you see, they had their gray on. Hundreds of them. 300 men. Remember, we got 42 versus 300. See, they marched straight in there. They thought it was easy work. They were told the Americans holding the Soma Colonia were Negro troops. That's what they used to call black people, Negroes. They said they were weak. They would run once the fighting got serious. See, they probably had experience dealing with somebody else, not us. Okay? We're Americans. But anyway, Private Webb, he got his rifle, he tightened his grip, and he remembered what they said. It's no different than when you get that crosstalk. You got a football game coming up on Friday or Saturday, and the crosstalk from across town. Oh, that team is weak. Oh, that team is weak. Their line is soft. Oh, okay, we got you. You got something to prove now. He remembered what the Germans had said. You see? In fact, the Germans had went so far as to drop leaflets asking why black soldiers were fighting for a country that treated them like second-class citizens. And the leaflets promised good treatment if the black soldiers surrendered. They claimed Germany had no hatred for Negro people and said black prisoners would be treated better by Germany than by America. So they were trying to get in their head. And then guess what? Shells started flying. Boom. Hitting the village. Boom. You got tanks. Boom. The whole house shook. Boom. Each blast, dust came from the ceiling. You don't know if the roof is going to cave in. You hear women, a woman was screaming from below. Hold your fire, Lieutenant Fox said from down the street. Let them get close. Remember, they don't have a lot of backup. It's only 42 of them. And so can you imagine you sitting there, you holding your rifle? Hold your fire, hold your fire. He was watching them with their sights. He could see their faces. They were confident. They thought they were going on a Sunday stroll. They were casual, because we just going to go, we heard about these blacks, they ain't nothing. They thought it was going to be easy. Then a single rifle shot cracked. Pow. And it echoed through the mountains. It was an Italian that shot first. Pow. And then after that, everything exploded. Fox had artillery coordinates ready, American Hausers. These are machine guns, basically. They start open fires from miles away. Shells fell into the German column. They were accurate. They bodies were flying everywhere. The Panzers, these are the tanks. They were getting the tracks blown off because tanks they don't have wheels. They have like I'm gonna call them tank tracks. You had them Germans scrambling and running and cutting and ducking and dodging just to get cut down. But there were too many Germans. They kept coming, and the infantry spread out. They found cover. They returned fire. They were soldiers, so they practiced with discipline. And then Webb fired, and Guerin kicked his shoulder, and the German soldier dropped. Webb fired again. After 5 shots, he lost count, but he kept dropping them. Pow! Accurate, under fire. He ain't cracking, he ain't running, he's shooting. They shooting me, I'm shooting back at them. Cotton was right next to him. These are 20, 21-year-old boys, you understand me? Calm and steady, stopping only to reload. They were coming to the left, someone shouted. Webb swung around his rifle, boom! German infantry moved through the ruins of the bomb building. They were trying to get around the side of them, get behind them, and Webb fired. Shot one down, and one screamed in pain. He fired again. And then Webb said he felt something twist in his chest. But there was no time for nothing. Only shooting and loading. That was it. Okay? The fight went on for hours. Webb's, his world began to shrink. The only thing he was concerned about was his rifle, the recoil, and the smell of the gunpowder and the blood and the stone and the dust. His ears rang, his hands moved on instinct. Aim, fire, reload, aim again. Germans returned fire. They tore into the house. The walls was being ripped out. This is what's going on around him for hours. Some of y'all can't stand to be on a roller coaster ride for 30 seconds. This is what's going on around him for hours. I mean, the houses might cave in. He could not stop firing because if he stopped, the Germans would have poured in and the people in the village were going to die. And so that's why they stood their ground and fight. That's why they didn't retreat. And by the afternoon, they began a lull. The Germans pulled back. They had to regroup. They left all their bodies scattered. Remember, they came with 300. They left with less. And Webb slumped against the wall, hands shaking badly. Can you imagine that? He could barely hold his can. It's been hours. His boy Cotton was still alive beside him, blood running from the cut on his forehead. They looked at each other and said nothing. There was nothing to say. What could you say? And then so Lieutenant Fox came and said, everyone who can move at command post, he said, they're coming again. And this time, this time they won't be so confident. You see? And the command post was barely standing. This is where the leaders were. Its roof was half collapsed. The walls are cratered by shell fire. And then Lieutenant Fox stood over a map on a wooden crate talking fast into a radio. And while runners moved in and out with reports, and Webb counted about 20 American soldiers still able to fight. Remember, they only had about 42, okay? Plus they had 40 Italians. The Germans still had at least 200 men with armor. And Fox put down the radio and he looked at the men and Webb and saw that there was exhaustion on their face, but he also saw something else, something hard. That's what he looked at in these black soldiers. He saw something unbreakable. He said, I've called in fire support for our position, Fox said quietly. Division says they can't send reinforcements, not in time. The Germans are going to make one more push before dark. They're coming with everything. I need every man who can hold a rifle. Somebody from the crowd said, what about withdrawal, sir? And Fox shook his head. Lieutenant, he said, these Italians have these citizens and they got women and children and old people in the cellars. If we leave, the Germans will kill everyone that they find. He said these SS officers don't take prisoners in these mountains, especially not civilians who helped us. We're all that stands between these people and them being massacred. And he paused. He said, I won't order anybody to stay. But I'm staying. And nobody moved. This is an all-black battalion. Nobody moved. This white boy, this lieutenant said, yeah, if y'all want to leave, none of the brothers moved. Webb, 21 years, he said something clicked inside of him. This is why we crossed the ocean. Not for officers who called them boys, not for a country that still lynched black men in the South, not even for big words. They were staying for the civilians hiding below, for the Italians who treated them like brothers. They stand for each other. And so Webb said, sir, those reports said the Germans think we can't fight, that we'll run. I think we've already answered that question. Now let's make sure they remember the answer. And then Lieutenant Fox, he almost smiled. He said, get on back to position. And he said, and remember, when the artillery falls, get as low as you can and pray. And the Germans' attack came at dusk. They were desperate. They were supposed to beat these black dudes. Tanks rolled up the main street. Infantry followed right behind them. Flamethrowers lit up the darkness. And our boys hit them with everything that they had left. Rifles, grenades. They salvaged some machine guns. But the main thing they had was courage that came from who knows where. Your boy Webb fired until his rifle barrel was too hot to touch. He reloaded through muscle memory. He kept shooting. And then Lieutenant Fox stepped into the street with a Panzerfaust that they captured early. They took it from him. And Fox aimed and he fired a rocket and hit a tank point blank range, and the tank erupted in flames. And then Lieutenant Fox got killed. The Germans shot him with a rifle and cut him down in the street. And what Webb did is he went and he grabbed his lieutenant and he dragged him out, behind the cover while the bullets sparked off the skull, and you know, they kept fighting. You see? Fox said, call in artillery, give him our exact position, and do it private, and that was an order. Webb grabbed the handset and hands shaking, he gave the coordinates while Fox coughed up blood beside him, and Webb knew what that meant. Fox was calling artillery down on that position. It was going to be close because it was the only way to stop the Germans. It was unalivement. You understand what I'm saying? It was unalivement, but it would save the village. And so the shells began to fall in 90 seconds. Boom, American houses. Fire turned the street into an inferno. There was flames everywhere. Webb pressed into a small space he could find. He put his hands over his helmet. He fell to the ground shaking, and the world became fire. It was just fire everywhere. Can you imagine being somewhere there's fire everywhere? Imagine that. Fire everywhere. Go stand by a fireplace and just you had that little fire in front of you. You see? Now imagine fire everywhere. This is hot flame. This is steel and metal burning. Webb said he couldn't tell if he was alive or dead. The smoke blinded him. His ears was ringing. He said the gunfire wasn't as bad. He said the silence was worse. And so he finally crawled out. He found Cotton, his homeboy, and they were both still alive. You understand? Lieutenant Fox was dead. But his eye, they say his eyes was open to the sky. But they broke the German attack. They broke the German attack. They pulled back. The Germans ran down the mountain. They left their dead behind. They retreated. And but the thing is, our boys held Soma Colonia that night and the next day until reinforcements arrived, and the white troops from the 85th Infantry Division, who looked at a handful of black soldiers and some Italians like they couldn't believe what they had did. They were told, when we show up, you can expect a massacre. They were told you could expect all these American soldiers, black soldiers, gonna be dead. They were told that the 92nd, which is all black, couldn't hold it. And instead, what they found is a village still in American hands and the field of German soldiers dead to prove what happened. And later, they got the German soldiers and the ones that they could capture, the prisoners, and they were brought in and they were shell shocked. The Italians captured them. They call them Parisians, you know. And one of the young corporals stared at Webb and the other black soldiers like he couldn't understand, like, you know, and you know, what do you mean? You know? And the German prisoner shook his head. He said, they told us you all would run. our officers, the propaganda. Everyone said that the Negro soldiers had no discipline, no courage, and that they were not real soldiers. And he looked at the destroyed village and at the bodies being collected. They were wrong about everything. Webb thought about the intercepted Germans' message and how the Nazi racial ideology poisoned their thinking. The Germans believed their own propaganda. They believed tactics around the idea that black troops would be easy. Yeah, all right. I guess they were wrong. That's what Webb said. I guess they were wrong. And so word spread through the Allied command. And even if it didn't hit newspapers back home, because they would never let something like this go. Lieutenant Fox received the Distinguished Service Cross after his death, a medal that would be upgraded to the Medal of Honor many decades later. And when America finally was ready to admit it, what its black soldiers did, because they weren't ready at that time. And so Webb and the other officers received Bronze Stars and went back to the line. The war wasn't over, so they had to go back to fight, but something changed. Reports began to come out through German units wanting transfers when they learned that they would have to face the Buffalo Soldiers. They didn't want to fight them black men anymore. They didn't want to fight those Buffalo Soldiers anymore. They were complaining that the Americans began placing Negro troops in key sectors. And slowly, even the Germans had to admit the racial hierarchy they believed in was collapsing under a battlefield reality. You understand that? They didn't want to fight us anymore. And here's another thing. Webb later learned about the 761st Tank Battalion, the Black Panthers, who fought across France with such force that even the white units had to respect them. He heard about the Tuskegee Airmen and the Red Tails, whose escort missions were so effective, and the bomber crews. Across every theater where black American troops fought, the pattern stayed the same. First came German confidence built on racism, then came heavy casualties, and then came fear. They feared us. It's no different than they fear you on the football team. It's no different. No different than when you look at who's running MMA right now. It's no different. See, the Nazis built their worldview on a myth of racial superiority, like this knucklehead that I played earlier. They convinced themselves that Aryans were meant to rule and that other races were inferior in intelligence and courage and skill. Somebody type IQ in the chat room. That IQ ain't gonna save you from an ass whooping. That's for sure. A little test ain't the test. But see, the thing is that myth shaped the doctrine and their decisions, and they studied American racism, and they concluded that black soldiers would be weak. Remember I told you earlier they had sent those people over there. They sent that German scientist, the lawyer, to study at Arkansas. Remember I told y'all that? We had that conversation. They was, these people must be weak. Just because we don't want to fight. That don't mean we weak. We just like peace. We just want to be left alone. Just because we don't go out picking fights, even when people are picking fights with us, that don't mean we're weak. Actually, it means we're strong. It means we're tough. We can take a lot. But anyway, that Nazi propaganda called black Americans savage and primitive. Same stuff they say now. You see? They said we were cowardly and unreliable. Same stuff they say now. It never made sense, but ideologies don't care about consistency. You see? See, then the myth met reality in those mountains of Italy, in the fields of France and the forests of Germany, and reality won, and it's gonna keep winning. Now, Webb, he survived the rest of the war. He was there for the final push. He was there when Germany surrendered. He saw camps liberated. He saw what industrial hatred really produced. He saw those camps like Auschwitz. He rotated home in late 1945, medals on his chest. He couldn't wear them in Detroit without trouble. He tried to understand what the war meant. He went to Europe to fight fascism and found racism waiting for him. When he got home, he proved himself in combat again and again, and he knew it. It would not matter to a bus driver or a restaurant owner or a bank owner. He knew that. But he learned something. See? No officer, no propaganda could take away. When everything was on the line, black soldiers stood and fought and won. They took the worst that the Germans could throw at them, and they survived. They made the German commanders fear them. They shattered all that Nazi Aryan superiority propaganda. They did it with skill. They did it with discipline. They did it with courage. They did it with heart. The Germans feared those black soldiers, those buffalo soldiers, not because of the stereotypes, but because these soldiers fought like men who knew they had more to prove. They fought with skill of men denied opportunity who seized it when it came. They fought with controlled rage and clear discipline. And most of all, they fought for each other. Now, years later, a young reporter asked Webb, what was he most proud of? And he thought about Soma Colonia back in Italy. He thought about Fox, Lieutenant Fox, calling the fire down on his position. He thought about Cotton, his homeboy, and Anderson, and others who stood with him, when the people assumed they would run. He thought about the German corporal's face when he realized he'd been lied to about these black men. And he said, I'm proud that we made them afraid. Not because we were monsters, but because we were men, better men than they wanted to believe we could be. We took their racial theories and broke them against the reality of who we were and what we could do. And he said, every time they held the line, every time they took a position, people said they couldn't. They destroyed more than enemy soldiers. They destroyed an idea. They thought we would be easy because their hatred made them blind. Webb said that. They expected us to break because their ideology told them we were inferior. But we saw them clearly. We saw them as just men. Men who could bleed and break and die like anyone else. And see, that clarity, he said, that refusal to accept the lies was what made them dangerous. The truth was simple. Courage has no color. Skill is earned, and when metal meets flesh, the only question is whether a man will stand. And we stood. And Webb said, God knows we stood. Now, Webb died in 1992. I was 18 years old. They buried him with full military honors. And even then, the battle wasn't over because the same lies that tried to erase black soldiers kept circulating. But the truth kept winning. And one mind at a time, one generation at a time, because men like Webb refused to be anything less than excellent. And if people were taught this history, they wouldn't talk reckless. They wouldn't repeat myths. They wouldn't make stupid statements that only exist because someone hid the facts and trained them not to believe what black heroism looks like when it's written in the record. Now, I want to thank everybody for the time you spent with me this evening. I'm not finished. I got a few more things to say in this broadcast. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the 11 people who contributed to this super chat. I'm sure that those 11 people appreciate me because they show that they learned something. I would think that out of all the 700-800 people we had in here, more than 12 people would have learned something by now. But some people you just can't teach. Some people you can sit up here and talk to them. You can speak on the 8th, 9th grade level. You can chop up your words and speak Ebonics to them, and they still won't learn anything. You can do the best you can, But we want to thank this $4 super chat. I appreciate this Cash App. Thank you, Richard Pettigrew, for your $4 Cash App. Thank you so much. You could tell a story. Thank you. I appreciate you, brother. And now, thank you for that. Again, God bless y'all. Like I said, I appreciate y'all. Some people just can't teach them. you can sit up there and talk, put your little flower on and everything. They still won't learn. Okay, they won't learn. But for the 12 people who did learn something out of all the 800 people who are in here and contribute to the super, because you don't pay me anything unless you learn something. If you don't learn, I don't earn. Okay, I don't want anything for free. Okay, you don't learn, I don't earn. I'm just a little disappointed in myself that out of 800 people, I could only reach 12 people. You see what I'm saying? I wish I could do better. It's Black History Month. It's probably not going to get any better for this. I'm doing the best I can to educate y'all on. But y'all can move to Florida. Go on down to Florida. They don't even teach Black history down there. Y'all can talk about anything that's going on there, and y'all can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Shout out to Miss Angela here. Thank you, baby. I appreciate you, too, for all my Cash App people who learn. Maybe before we finish, we'll get some more people to learn something. Maybe. I'm not putting in, again, don't give me nothing. You don't owe me anything, okay? If you learn something, I should earn something. That's not mandatory. I'm not making it, okay? I don't want nothing for free. I don't want nobody to do deal, get begging for stuff. I'm not begging. I ain't no begging ass. Excuse my language. My mouth has been filthy all night. But bottom line, what I'm saying is, you don't owe me anything. But if you learn something, I should earn something. That's all I'm saying. Praise God. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Now let's go. Oh my God, we got 16 people who've learned something. 16 people out of 800 some people that have learned something. That is amazing. That is what, like less than 2.2%? That's less than 0.22% of y'all. Amazing. Amazing. Sad. That's what it is. It's sad. But that's okay. That's okay, because the Lord is going to bless me. Listen, we get Nancy. Thank you so much. She said, very educational and entertainment. Yeah, I try to give you everything. I try to give you everything. I'm going to get a haircut, and I'm going to be handsome tomorrow. But anyway, let's go ahead and read these super chats for these beautiful people. These people who learned something. Shout out to everybody who contributed to this. And shout out, did y'all hit the subscribe button? No, look, let me tell you something. All I need, now we're trying to get to 9,000. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. And so what I need to happen for you all up in here with me, I need you all to subscribe to the channel. I need 14 people. I need 14 people to subscribe to the channel, and that'll get me, I'll be up out the night. I need 14 people to subscribe to the channel. If you can do that, I certainly would appreciate it. Okay, let me see here. I need 12 people to subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. 12? Y'all not doing nothing? You ain't doing nothing. You sitting there listening to me for 2.5 hours talk about history. I need 12 people. Y'all do that. Let me read these super chats. We got 18. I'm trying to give y'all a chance to get your little fingers together and let me know you learned something, even though you don't owe me nothing. I don't want nothing from y'all. That's all right. Okay, I need 10 more people to subscribe to the channel. That'll get me to a good number. Y'all take the time to subscribe to all the people that's not big. Let me get this out of the way. 19 super chats. That's good. Maybe we get 20. We get 20, that'll be good. But anyway, somebody said, L. Jackson 240 said, praise Moses. It's a hot night tonight. That's right. Thank you so much. Also, she'll be staring at you while you sleeping. Funny. Oh, man. Gifted black, red, white, and blue. Thank you so much. Gifted one. I wish I could get another 12 gifts. If I could get 12 memberships, I would have 200 memberships. That'd be cool. That would be a nice number. W.M. Jason Holton, deleted girlfriend himself in Florida. Thank you so much. And let's see here. You are so right. The aftermath of war is horrific. Thank you, Asher Reborn. Appreciate the work. Thank you, Eskimo Black. All right. Thank you so much. You U.S. black vets just want to be left alone. And I know, don't we all want to be left? Leave us alone. Always calling our name. We don't have anything to do with any of this. Rena from SoCal showing some love, Uncle D. Keep up the great work. No lies told, sir. Thank you, baby. I appreciate you. Gunslinger, Mount Fort Point Marines, 1942. Thank you so much. I have to look into that. Angela Manor, 4165. I've learned something. Thank you for the work you do, because these 2, 3, 4 hour lectures are awesome, and your serious work. Thank you. That means a lot to me. I know, I really appreciate you. I really take pride in what I do. I really do. This is, I really take pride in what I actually. I don't want to go off and all that, but I got an LLM in environmental and energy related law, which is a master's degree you get after you become a lawyer. And I got that so that I could teach, but I just don't have time to teach. I don't have time to teach. I have a family to take care of. I got a house to take care of, a business to take care of. And so this is convenient. I get to come in here and talk to you all in the evening, and I'm glad I found a good time when you're not doing anything. You're just sitting back and relaxing, and we can sit around and really learn together, because this is some complicated stuff. I just want you all to know that. This is some very complicated stuff. And if you know this sort of history, it starts to it starts helping you build a picture of what the world is really about. And hopefully this broadcast has dispelled any fears, because you all don't know who you are, because people have lied to you so much about who you are. And if you don't know, maybe you do know, our children don't know who we are. So it's good to tell them our history. This is why we have Negro History Month, a Negro History Week, or as it was by Carter G. Woodson, or Black History Month as we call it now. So we can learn who we are. Our children need to learn these things. Michelle Hallock, thank you for this Black American history. You very welcome, baby. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Yaya's kids, thank you for the $20 super sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. All right, Carrington Creative, God bless you. Thank you so much for the $99.99. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you for the $99.99. I appreciate that, man. This broadcast is dedicated to you, Carrington Creative. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And let's see who else we got. Daywalker, even as a prior military officer, I learned something. Yeah, bro, why would they tell you this good information so you can get up in there and have pride about yourself and talk about the Red Tails and the Harlem Hellfighters and the Buffalo Soldiers? They don't want you to hear about these things. You might have too much pride. You might start thinking, this is my military. It always has been. Do you know, I could sit up here and go, because the military, the United States military is the most important institution in the United States. I don't care what anybody else says. It's the United States military and its needs that have pushed this country forward, whether we're talking about technology, whether we're talking about defense, whether we're talking about enforcing our borders, that's it. And so when you become a member of that, it's our soldiers and our Marines and our Navy personnel. When they came back home, they stood up straight. They were, man, you're not going to keep us persecuted. You see, it's the same thing. We fought in all the Revolutionary Wars, man. I could go in. Gosh, man, it's so much. General Ty, David Walker, I want you to look up General Ty. He fought for Great Britain. He fought for Great Britain. He was from New Jersey. I want you to look up General Ty. And if you want me to do something about General Ty, I will do that. He was one of the most dynamic fighters in the Revolutionary War. Fought against the United States, or what was the colonies, and for Great Britain. Okay, but you need to look that up, man. General Ty might do something related to him. Thank you so much, Black Toxic Masculinity. Just getting in, brother. You a jewel. Thank you so much, brother. God bless you. All praises go to God. Daughters of Yahweh, 3193. Thank you so much for the 199. I appreciate that. And we got Puchina. What is that name? Puchina super sticker. Thank you. So we got 25 super chats. We doing good. All right, maybe we'll get to 30 before I finish. 149 super sticker. Taking Black History higher. Yes, that's what we're doing. And 20th super chat. Thank you so much. Also, Terrell Clements. Thank you for the $2. Alabama Clay Child B1 just joined the broadcast late. I'm sure that I will learn a lot. Thank you so much. Also, intricately Tank always learn something. Our great black vets, we got to show respect to the vets. Wamana, Florida in the house. I can't say that name. I'm not going to sit up here. Florida in the house. Florida in the house. How dare you shade our learning in Florida? Keep it up, brother, with the learning. Yeah, y'all taking all the good stuff out the books. If Florida didn't have black history, you'd missed the first 300-400 years of Florida history. You know what I'm saying? I joined the broadcast late. Was a story about Miracle at St. Anne. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. All right. So we got 25 people in the super chat. I appreciate everybody. We did good. You know what y'all need to do? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you what you need to do before I get into this closing. I'm gonna wrap this thing up. Okay, before I wrap this thing up, then let me tell you what we need to do in here. Speaking of which, you've been involved in a car accident, give me a call at 713-229-0770. Clearly the money I'm making on this social media is not gonna pay me well enough to maintain the lifestyle that I've become accustomed to living. So I appreciate if you all will contribute to my well-being by calling me and utilizing my legal services. And again, as I say, let's keep it real simple. I practice car accidents. I do car accidents, okay? Don't call me if you had a family law case. I'm gonna hang up on you. If your grandma need a will written, don't call me. If your baby brother's in jail, don't call me. Call me if you've been in a car accident at that number at the bottom, 713-229-0770. Are we clear? Somebody type clear in the chat room. Don't you call. Don't get your big head on the telephone. Yeah, I'm going to call Dennis Spurling right now. Don't call me. Call me if you've been in a car accident. That's where I'm going to make my money. All right? I'll do a good job for you. All right. I appreciate you guys. Let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. And this is where we started. Just in case you all don't know, this is not just something that's out the blue. This is how I react, okay, to these videos. Listen.
Start a race war with a race that was bred for war. You understand that's what we're bred for, don't you? You have to understand some shit, okay? Majority of us, we are born into ammunition and firearms. We are born into more ammunition than the National fucking Guard. We are taught to hunt and survive off the land. We are taught that we don't need the government to give us shit. I have a feeling you're taught to be a victim and that the government owes you something. We're not the same.
I think this.
Okay. All right.
Shots. So you really think you're gonna beat a duck hunter? If there was a race war, you wouldn't win.
White people would lose a race.
All right, that's where we started. This is, so I want you, before we close, we need to do something that should never be controversial. We need to say thank you to every Black American man and woman who has worn the uniform of the United States Armed Forces. Thank you. Thank you for your discipline. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for standing watch in places most Americans will never see. Thank you for boarding ships, aircraft, and convoys, knowing full well that not everyone comes home. Thank you for carrying the weight of this nation's security on your shoulders, even when the nation did not always carry you the same way. Black History Month is not just about inventors and artists and activists. It's also about soldiers and sailors and airmen and Marines. It's about Coast Guardsmen and Guardians. It's about the 380,000 who served in World War I, the 1.2 million who served in World War II, the Buffalo Soldiers, the Harlem Hellfighters, the 761st Tank Battalion, the Tuskegee Airmen, the 92nd Infantry Division, and the countless names we don't know, but whose service is written into the soil of Europe, the Pacific, Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, and beyond. It's about men who fought fascism overseas, then came home to the segregation that they had to deal with. It's about the women who served this country while being denied full recognition. It's about veterans who stood in uniform abroad and then had to stand again at home for dignity, for civil rights, for simple respect. You fought 2 battles, one against foreign enemies and one against injustice at home, and you didn't quit. To the more than 2.3 million black veterans walking around this country today, we see you and we honor you, and we recognize that your service wasn't theoretical, it wasn't symbolic, it was real. It was cold nights on foreign soil, it was long deployments away from home, away from family, away from holidays. It was not seeing relatives grow up and go to college, baby showers, weddings, deaths you couldn't attend for loved ones. It was discipline under pressure. It was carrying burdens that most citizens will never fully understand. Your record stands and your medal stand and your graves stand in Arlington and across the nation as permanent reminders of what you gave. And despite everything, despite segregation, despite discrimination, despite being underestimated, you served honorably. And that's patriotism. See, patriotism, a lot of these people wear patriotism like a flag pin. It's not chest thumping. It's not reckless talk about war like that fool that we saw. Patriotism is service. It's sacrifice. It's duty. It's standing in the gap even when the country you defend has not yet perfected itself. Black Americans we've been here from the beginning, from Crispus Attucks to Harriet Tubman in the Civil War. We've never been absent from America's fight. We've always answered the call. And so during Black History Month, let it be said clearly, we honor you. We thank you. We remember you. And we will continue to tell your story. I'm going to continue to tell your story, not as a footnote, not as an afterthought, but as an essential chapter in American history, because freedom is not abstract. It's defended by people, and Black Americans have defended it again and again with courage and discipline and with honor. Thank you for your service. Now, let's be clear about something. To that individual, the most dishonorable thing an American can do is propose civil war. We've already fought that war. It was fought on our soil. It cost 600,000 lives. It tore families apart. It burned cities to the ground, and it was settled. That war was won. The Constitution survived. The Union survived. So when a man gets online and starts threatening violence, understand something. He's writing a check that all of you all are going to have to cash, that all of us are going to have to cash. He may be loud, but he does not get to decide who pays the price. There are plenty of white folk who have no intention of fighting alongside this fool. But the nature of internal conflict is that once it starts, it drags everybody into it. Neighbors become enemies, communities are split. And when we end up tearing our own country apart, and while we're busy fighting each other, the real enemies of the United States are watching us. They're waiting. Some here, some abroad. They're calculating. And the moment we look weak, the moment we look divided and unstable, that's when they make their move. And that's when they try to take advantage. That's when they try to get their look in. And the last thing this country needs at this time of all this global instability and population decline and mass migration here, there, and economic strain and internal tension is to entertain an overexcited testosterone treatment having a farmhand who thinks war is a personality trait. The loudest ones are always the ones least prepared for the consequences. These are the type of people who talk about it but never be about it. The type who start the party and leave early. They the type who stir the chaos and then disappear when it's time to clean up. See, as a good American, as a patriotic American, as a noble American, as people who actually appreciate this country and what it stands for, black people especially who've sacrificed so much for this country, we have to do better than that. And white folks, you have to do better than that. We can talk about race. We can argue till we blue in the face. We can debate the truth. We can be as heated as we want to be. But at the end of the day, we are Americans. And whether you like it or not, the fact of the matter is, no matter what your social media feed says, we are Americans. And see, black Americans have learned quickly that many people in the diaspora don't necessarily even stand with us. And I'm talking to my foundational black American. We had to learn some hard lessons over the past couple years. Some of these people don't even like us. And I want you white folks to be absolutely certain that most of these European powers have historically expected white Americans to bail them out financially and militarily every few decades when they overextend themselves. That's not a conspiracy, that's history. But other than that, they don't like you either. And so the most important thing we can do right now is be American. We've always come together when it mattered most, even during racial strife at home. When the country was divided, when the rhetoric was ugly, when it was time to defend the nation, Americans stepped up. We set aside our differences. We fought wars to protect freedom. We kept building. We kept pushing this country to live up to its ideals. And that's what I expect right now. And that's what every decent, hardworking American should expect. Whatever your politics are, whatever your heritage is, recognize that you're an American first. Nothing divides you from that unless you let it. So you need to calm down. All y'all out there preaching war, calm down. Think clearly. Stop letting your brainwashing and your racial hierarchy talk get you in a situation that none of us want. Stop letting ego and internet bravado drag the rest of the country towards destruction. Strength is not loud. Patriotism isn't reckless, and real Americans don't tear down our own house just to prove a point. Now, let me get in tight. All my foundational black American brothers and sisters, I want you to come on in here. I'm going to speak directly to you, type FBA if you're still here. I know it's been here for a while, but I need you to come in here. Because, see, we need to be honest about something. Now, I done said what I had to say, okay? But if everything goes left in this country, a lot of these other black people are going straight back to the countries that they came from, aren't they? They say it all the time. First generation, second generation, they can pack up and leave, but we can't. This is our home. Our people are buried here. Our blood is in the soil. Our history is here. Our labor built this place. So when you see all this reckless talk, understand who it will be, who's going to get hit the hardest and who's going to fall the hardest. It's going to fall on the people who don't have anywhere else to go. And that's exactly why I've been resting. And that's exactly why you've been resting. This is exactly why we haven't been putting ourselves out there. This is why we've done absolutely nothing to anybody. We've served in all the wars. We paid all our taxes. Most of us, right? But we've definitely been the most loyal, the most patriotic citizens by actions alone. We fought and we built this country. We the best citizens this country's ever had. I mean, look what we've done. We fought for freedom overseas and then had to come home and deal with injustice when we got back here. Not for some special rights, just from basic dignity. Even after all that, you still have people who want to pick fights with us. Not because we did something to them, but because they don't like their own rotten, stinking, ugly lives. They're angry, they're empty, they're frustrated, and instead of dealing with themselves, they want to make an enemy out of us. They want a target. They want somebody to blame. And this is why we chilling. Somebody type feet up in the chat room. This is why we're resting. This is why we are not coming outside. This is why we not, all you Mexicans and Latinos and hey, y'all voted for Trump. This is what you asked for. All you Africans and Caribbeans talking about these nice white people, this is what you came up here for. Y'all didn't have to come here. You came here. This is why we're not eager to be seen or eager to be loud or eager to be in the line of fire. Let them argue with themselves. Let them perform for the internet. Don't let anybody bait you into stepping off the bench for something that's not your business. Because, see, the truth is our instincts were right, weren't they? All of a sudden, out of nowhere, somewhere in the middle of last year, they had black fatigue. What we got to do with this? They was waiting. They were chomping at the bit because you got a certain contingent of losers and weirdos that want us to come out there because they want to take their angst and animosity off on me. The Mexicans just don't taste right to satisfy that bloodlust that they have, that thirst that they have. It just don't, the Asians, the Africans, nah, we need to, they want some of that FBA blood. They got to prove something to us. Our ancestors were talking to us the whole time. If we paid attention, they were telling us, be careful. They were telling us, move smart. They were telling us, don't volunteer for that chaos. And let me say this clearly. We're not looking for trouble. We're not out here trying to start anything. We living our lives. We're going to our barbecues, enjoying our cookouts, doing our line dances, raising our children, going to work, minding our business. We're not out here trying to prove a point. We want peace. We want stability. We want to be left alone. But we're also not naive, are we? We're not a naive people. Now, if you force us into some circumstances that we didn't choose, I have no doubt that we're going to be all right. Why? Not because we the biggest and the baddest. No. Because the Lord loves us. Let me say that again. The Lord fights our battles for us. The Lord is clearly on our side. We are clearly a chosen people. Maybe there's some other chosen people. I don't know. I'm not trying to go full Hebrew Israelite on y'all up in here, but I know we are got to be a chosen people to make it this far. That's not arrogance. That's faith. That's the faith that your grandma had when your brothers and your uncles went out and about and came home safe at night. That's the faith that got prayed over when you were a child. That's the faith you pray for right now. It's the faith that keeps you pointed north. Through all this tumultuous time that we're dealing with, this is the faith that our ancestors had on those slave ships. This is the faith that our ancestors had when they were running north. It's the faith that our ancestors had when they were stuck on those cotton plantations, tobacco farms in the deep South 100 years ago. They knew just hold on, that's faith. Nevertheless, it shouldn't have to come to that. It should never come to that. And this is why we move with discipline and restraint. That's why we're resting now. That's why we don't let reckless people dictate our pace. You got all these immigrants trying to get us off the bench, trying to shame us to come protest. Well, where are the black people? We like you, black. We miss you, black people. I don't give a damn how much you miss me. I still ain't coming outside. trying to trick us into coming outside with compliments. Well, they say me miss me. They say they miss us. We'll just, no, we not. We thank you for missing us. We don't miss you. We'll stay here. To every foundational Black American person, listen, stay grounded, stay calm, stay alert, stay on the bench. Matter of fact, stay on the bench until it's time to stand up for something real, something for us. Don't let anybody drag you into none of this nonsense that's going on. This too shall pass. Don't let anybody use you as a prop in their personal crisis. And don't let loud, angry people convince you that chaos is destiny. It isn't. We've survived too much, we've built too much, and contributed too much to let somebody else's instability become our emergency. This is our country too. And we're gonna move like it. Shout out to everybody who came through. This is Uncle D. I appreciate you guys. I love you all, as I always say. I thank you so much for your time and patience and being with me here tonight. And I want to give a shout out to all the beautiful people. That I hope y'all enjoy this lesson. And you see, I'm getting you out of here before 3 hours. And in order to do that, I'm going to just go ahead and end it right now. This is Uncle D. I love you all. And as I always say at this time, I'm out.
In the Spurling podcast, hit the like button, subscribe.